Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Trader TV Live. Futures starting in positive territory here on the last trading day of the week with the Qs up about 0.1%. Likewise with the SPY a little bit higher, 0.29. The DIA Dow Industrial ETF up the 0.42, and the Russell 2000 up a little bit less than 0.5% as we start off. Yes, the first red day to start the morning here for oil, down 2.30 USO. Gold and silver both back up. Bitcoin still trading right around 65,000. Lots to talk about. Of course, we're looking at that earnings report from yesterday after the bell. Intel reporting they're up 3.33% right now. ORCL on the back of a big deal with the United States government. They're also up about 0.2%. A lot of earnings names, though, to talk about this morning. See, as we're in the midst of earnings season. Good morning.
Absolutely, a lot of earnings. You have American Express also that reported pre-market today, so discussing that would be great as well. But yeah, we do have Intel that reported, and Intel having the fastest revenue growth that it's been having since the year 2011. So this quarter, amongst all the quarters, up since 2011.
Yeah, good look for Intel. As I mentioned, up 3%. We also have Newmont, SAP reporting, DEX, one of the very few red names, DEK down 2.33. You also have the likes of CRM up 1.33% on the back of a new contract there. Upstart getting a banking charter, and AMKR with a tie-up with Intel. They're knocking on the door of 10% here this morning. Some moves to the downside. We have American Express down 3.33, and Verizon, they continue to suffer from losing more customers. They're down about here 2.5%. Let's send it off to the big boys. Good morning, guys, and happy Friday. Happy last trading day of the week, baby.
Good morning.
Yes.
You know what? The biggest story, I know Intel had earnings. That's nice.
It was flying, and
it was fine until they mentioned CapEx, and were just like oddly vague about it. What do you mean meaningful increase? We're talking about meaningful increase. You know, sometimes giving a number is a little bit better. Like if I don't know, my daughter's only 9, but like if your kids be like, okay, I'm gonna be out late, but I might be like a meaningful amount of time past my curfew.
Yeah.
You say some nonsense like that, I'll give you screw face. Now, if you tell me, hey, look, we're doing this, I'm going to be 30 minutes past the curfew, we could talk about that. You give us a number on that meaningful increase on the CapEx. And so the market decided to freak out over that instead of the great report that Intel had, because this is where we're at right now.
They're hating CapEx. I mean, we saw yesterday with Google, we saw it with Tesla.
Anyways.
Now we're seeing it with Intel. I mean, look at this move. It was up to 114.
It was so good.
You know, we got that 12, 13, 14% as it was expected, and then all of a sudden right back down. Look, we'll take the positive 3%. It's better than what we were talking about yesterday at this time. But yeah, a little disappointing, man. I would have hoped that it was a little higher than where we're going right now. You know, other stocks catching a little bit here. AMD. We have it as chip rebound day or something like that, but I don't know. We'll see. Nice to see the market trying to get going there. The Nasdaq just spiked. The ES just spiked a little bit there on those numbers, coming right back in. But yeah, I don't know. Doesn't feel like a sell day again today. I feel like it does. You know, we mentioned AXP. SpaceX still hovering around, still a little negative on that move. I don't know. It's gonna be one of those days today. I think we had Oracle. I mean, if you want to go short on something, Oracle's been getting hammered for the last little while. We'll see if it can keep this 2% here today. You know, this might be something that you bump and send a little lower there if it goes bumping in the night there. And then Tesla. Interesting. What was yesterday's low? 319? No, 316 there when we just collapsed right at the end, and we got some sort of a buy imbalance that crushed it back up to 323. So yeah, we'll see what happens here with Tesla, back to a little key level there as well. But maybe 323 is a short there for Tesla. But we're going to get it all figured out, and we'll get some trade ideas ready to go for you here on a Friday. Did we even check out USO?
It's actually down, believe it or not. So hey, oil's allowed to go down.
Yes.
It's only a couple of percentage points, but it kind of, look, it's been bad this week if you're looking at like energy prices. It's been like a steady grind that had a pretty precipitous gap up and then just almost all day rally. So they're down a little bit. I would be cautious with SkyQ's on the watch list, because when oil's moving, this was the one, right? I know we even put like battle in there, just like a little bit of an afterthought. This is up 17 points with USO down a little bit, and it had a massive move, like 50%, almost off the open, then gave you another like dip and bounce, and it's up at the highs. But if USO doesn't get going, just be careful with this. It could end up going the other way. So yeah, I mean, energy's got to be in focus. Just in terms of having it on the side, it can be moving markets. But we got so much from earnings this week that I think we're really keying off of Tesla, now Intel, and Alphabet, which when you get down days like this, like you're kind of hoping that just from a relief standpoint, you gap up a point just because. That's not really happening here. With Google, it was a very small gap up in the pre-market, and then we're just like slightly sliding lower. So it's not really looking all that great today, despite the fact, oil came down. You're like, that might help things. Intel had a good quarter, that might help things, and they're not really, at least not yet. It's not really giving any signs of that bounce.
Yeah, Google's still down. I was hoping that we would get a little bit of a bounce day, especially after some better numbers there from Intel, but it doesn't look like that's happening at all. Yeah, USO down 2%. So here we go. Maybe there is a chance here that you can get cheaper gas prices coming this weekend. But yeah, nice downside move there for USO. And we'll talk to, I think we should have Michael Noss coming through today, so that should be exciting. But let's go back over to the desk, see what Sia and Sharif want to talk about.
Get into some of these Intel numbers, which I'm sure we'll touch again, of course, on the rundown. But there was a lot of eye-opening stuff. I'll just touch on some things that caught my attention, and I'll throw it over to Sia. You have a top-line beat, of course, $16.1 billion, well ahead of what the street was looking for. You have some variances, as we often talk about gap and non-gap here, and there is a reason for that we'll get to. But what I really liked, Sia, the top line catalyst was a sharp re-rating of their CPUs. CPUs fell out of favor. Nobody cared about CPUs anymore. It was GPUs, 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 because everything training related is GPU centric. But that's all changing, of course, with agentic AI really moving to the head here. And now we're seeing Intel at the fore in terms of CPU sales ahead of AMD for the new push into the sort of inference world. So I like that from Intel. I know the boys were talking about some, CapEx numbers, and that's certainly a bit of a problem there. See, as that ate into some earnings.
Absolutely, yeah. And even yesterday, while looking at the conference with the AMD CEO Lisa Su, we understood that agentic AI is on the push, and it's actually shocking how Intel has come ahead of AMD, which is a great feat for them. But let's take a bit of a dive into the numbers here. So like I said, it's having the fastest revenue growth it's had since one of the quarters in the year 2011. So this is one of the best quarter it's had since that year. Earnings per share standing at 42 cents adjusted versus 21 cents expected. Revenue at $16.1 billion versus $14.42 billion that was expected. Now, non-GAAP EPS has hit 42 cents. GAAP EPS has crashed to $2.16. Now, this massive move has been driven by a non-operational $2.45 per share mark-to-market accounting change that has been directly tied to escrowed equity under the federal, now stay with me, CHIPS Act to ensure enclave agreement. The biggest strength here has come from data center business for Intel, where revenue has jumped 59%. There's AI-driven demand for, as you do know it, server processors that continues to outpace supply over here. Management has also commented and said that customers are signaling stronger long-term CPUs, Sharif, agreements and supply agreements, that demand remains stronger and continues to remain stronger with this than Intel can currently manufacture. We were talking about this yesterday. There's more demand than they can provide.
Absolutely. And their 18A process, guys, we've talked about this. Their 18AP, they're really improving with yields. We talked about how it jumped up from about 65%. Now they're able to get 85% of the wafer into usable chips. That is a big deal, of course. That is why NVIDIA, that is why AMD passed on the 18A process initially, but they've made improvements there, a nod to Lip-Bu. So we'll talk we talked a little bit about Intel there. Let's look on Oracle as well, Sia, because Oracle also has a big headline this morning. They have a new $7 billion Pentagon contract to strengthen their government AI position. It's the Department of the Defense here. It's going to be a $7 billion deal over the next decade. It provides on-premises software as well as maintenance, consulting. It's for military, it's for intelligence, so it's in a very sensitive area right now, Sia.
So absolutely, it does. I would say Oracle management is building on the similar effort that Davies' office had stuck with Microsoft back in May. So this 5-year, $9.69 billion deal has consolidated Microsoft and I would say other enterprise software licenses that are rather scattered, I would say, across military services. It does span across 5 years, Sharif, with a further 5-year option, and also covers the entire Pentagon along with the U.S. Coast Guard by the intelligence community. Now, we have Pentagon Chief Information Officer Kirsten Davis saying, by fundamentally improving how we procure on-premises Oracle capabilities, we are driving at least $441 million in taxpayer savings, while also rapidly and effectively serving our warfighters.
All right, guys, Oracle here. Show you the daily chart. Well, it looks like, or at least at 52-week lows here on ORCL, but we're up 2% on the morning. What's the look?
Yeah, I don't know if there's not a lot of exuberance for this deal. You're looking for things that can stabilize them, right? Like Oracle, for all that it's down, you would think there'd be an easier path on positive news to have gapped up. But all we've done is you're not even back to the open. You didn't get back to the open price yesterday at 125. Like we're back to 22.5. Like cut half of the move back in, let alone all the resistance up at 127 and 128. Like I think this kind of speaks to just how negatively Oracle is seen, like the debt monster they are. Like in reality, they stepped into the big boys game, and you know, they're not executing, unfortunately. And trying to go toe-to-toe with the big three hasn't really worked out for them, and that's where the focus might lie. So yeah, this is nice on the back end here, provide a little bit of stability, but I think the ball doesn't lie. Like this is exactly the kind of stock that on a positive piece of news, had it been at 127, 128, you'd be talking breakout today. Instead, very small gap up and still, actually in the pre-market, even trending down here. So, yeah, it's such a bad-looking chart, too. I think you need to break this consolidative bottom, and we're not really close enough to doing that. It's the 28 to 30 area that needs to go on Oracle. Does it have 5 or 6% in it today? And then on top of that, enough juice to get away from that too? I don't think so.
Thank you so much, Thomas Kondo there saying, good morning, happy Friday. I don't even trade, just watch the show. Okay, good, yeah, me too. While I work here because you're all awesome. That's great. You wish your 9-to-5 team was more like us. So we want to say thank you to that. Thank you for watching. I mean, it's good space to get information, whether or not you're trading or not. Make sure you do sign up. Although I don't have the watch list today. Let me know in the chat if anybody else doesn't have it yet. I think it's maybe a little delayed in sending. But
you know what it was? There was an option when you're clicking to send it, and it goes, don't send it to any Italians.
Right.
And I think I accidentally clicked that. Right, so if any Italians watching right now, I'm sorry.
If you are Italian in the chat there, you might not be getting it. So hopefully I'll get that soon. But anyways, if you haven't gotten it, it's coming soon. Yeah, no, look, this is a $7 billion 10-year deal. So it's not worth anything at the end of the day. It's nice that it's with the U.S. government. That's the part of it that I like. So I think Oracle can, win on this. I think this is a win. So, we'll wait to see. I was just reading it over and it's only a 5-year deal with the next 5 is option for, I guess, charges followed by a 5-year This says option period. Maybe it's option period with the U.S. Department of Defense. But, that's not that much money. But at least it's getting their foot in the door. And I think that's something that's important. You'll have to wait to see. Like right now, we're just trying to hover underneath or at VWAP. So, I like it because it's up 2% today. So I think Oracle does have, room to grow into a better valuation. Into this 140 might be something. I don't know if it's going to happen today. I'm trying to wrap my head around what I think the market might do today. And I don't know. It's pretty flat here. It hasn't been a great July, obviously. We don't have, there's not a whole bunch of stories out here right now that can rally this market that I'm seeing. We do have more release of economic numbers. We have 945 PMI flash, we were written down here, and then new home sales at 10. So there's not too much to really get this market going there. But for a stock that is trying to go, I think Oracle, looking at it back to yesterday's close around 120, if we do get a dip, I think that's a good opportunity. I mean, look, it's a positive story. it seems like it's a nice actionable trade here for Oracle. It's been absolutely like just pummeled to the downside, right? I mean, and if we do go back to a little bit of a longer time frame, we've showed this before. Like the fact that this thing went up to 380 or whatever it went up to there, 350, like that's wild. But you're right back in here. This is just a daily chart. So we've already sort of pegged some of these levels, right? You saw, what was it recently? Something came down into, it's IBM that's also down near into some of these lows that we've seen back in 24, 25 again, right? And so IBM down here, Oracle down here. And, I think if I could pick or choose, let's just see what IBM looks like. I think I'd rather go with IBM. Down here, but yeah, see there it is right there. This actually goes back a little further into 24. So, there's many, like this was also a $330 name, right? Down into $200. So you have to just, Oracle is a little bit of a chase for sure. And if you thought you're trying to bottom pick, maybe these two names might be ones to look at, both IBM and Oracle. I mean, these are both, strong US companies that have been around both in the Dow forever and forever, and continue to be strong names. I believe Oracle even pays a small dividend. I know IBM does as well. So there's something about these names that I think will eventually get bought back up just because of namesake. But for right now, yeah, down in the dumps, both of these names. And I don't know, I almost feel like we need to have a poll out right now. I don't even have an idea of if this market's gonna be green or red at the end of the day. I mean, I think we should do something like that.
Just green or red.
We mainly talk about NASDAQ names. We could do the NASDAQ or the S&P 500. Really, if Neil's going to set it up.
Let's just do the S&P, because I think a lot of times people get, like the NASDAQ's out the market because the S&P is bigger. So this is simple. Will the I'll just put the SPY, because it's just easier. Will the SPY be green today? Simple. I know
I think that's what we want.
Yeah, we're slightly green, so it's just easy. We'll make green 1, and we'll make red 2. So we'll make it. First of all, just to remind everybody, this is within the chat. You've got to vote by typing 1 or 2 in the chat.
It doesn't.
So type 1 in the chat if you think that the market is going to be green today, the S&P is going to be green today,
1 just to be
and then
positive
2 for red. Keeping in mind, if you're listening but not participating, that's because you're not in the chat, and to be in the chat, you've got to become a subscriber. So hit the subscribe button. Do it now. I'll give you a second. Now you've all done it. Now go jump in there and post with a red or green for sure. So appreciate everybody. And right now, 59%. Hey, this is 60% saying green. Relief rally kind of day.
Okay.
I feel as if most of the time we do a simple straight red or green, it's like 52-48, something like that. So to see it a little bit more definitive, now 64% green. Looks like it's going to be the viewers voting for a green day. I mean, last night, Intel, I think it was 40, what do we have? 48%, 40-something percent for green, and then it was like 30-something, it was 30-something red, and then it was like 18 flat. So, I mean, overall, the viewers got it right. There was a really large contingent for flat, although the aftermarket move was up,
right,
but it was, I guess, flat 1 if you looked at it overnight.
This is what it was yesterday. Yeah, we had 48%.
Oh, it was the other way around.
Was sell.
Oh, my bad. It was the other way around.
Yeah, and then we had a little bit of a chop. Chop, I guess,
won.
That's pretty much going to win, I would think.
Yeah, Chop's won.
You're up 3% on Intel right now. Will insiders dump SpaceX when it expires? 66% say yes.
Oh, there it is.
And here's one here. Which earnings name are you riding with?
Oh, no.
Google, Tesla, any one of these ones would have been fine. Although I don't know if ServiceNow, what they wound up doing.
Oh, they gave it all back.
Did they give it all back? Yeah. So I think Google winning there. Oh, is trading your primary income? No, that was pretty close. That was a lot closer than I thought, that one for sure. But okay, let's go. We do have Michael Noss coming through. I don't want to just throw it back. I mean, we've been back over there for a minute. I wanted to just, they have lots to talk about. But Intel, I really want to see the answer to this poll. I want to check that back in a little bit because I'm trying to think about writing down a short maybe. Yesterday we had a move in Palantir. That's up to 124 again. We talked about government contracts. We know that Palantir is loaded with them. They had a move down yesterday, back into that 120 marker, trying to get back up to the upside. This could be something worth looking at here. PLTR for the day trade as well, looking near that 120. I don't think we get down there. This is if the market does wind up falling back forward, back into those forward backing levels there of 120. And then I guess the other name to maybe look at, I'm just looking at, what's been happening. We got Texas Instruments as well. Wasn't that? No, that was 2 nights ago, wasn't it? Yeah. So this is another name that we didn't focus on too much yesterday. They're at a pretty key level here, TXN of 280. I was looking at this yesterday, and that could have been a level there of 280 for Texas Instruments. So maybe a couple earnings plays that you might not have thought about. Texas Instruments could be a decent one there. And then what we talked about before that, right there, Palantir, not an earnings play, but a name that is a mover that we could definitely look at. Nice little trend yesterday in the afternoon, back up to the upside. Remember, the market was getting cranked yesterday, downside, even into the close. And, you had Palantir do this kind of a move. So, looking to pick up something down here in the mid to low 120s, I guess. We're at the mid now, but if we can go a little lower, 122, 122.50, something like that, for Palantir might be something. All right, before we go and dig into more opportunities, let's go over and have a quick look with Joe and see if there's anything popping off on the options board.
All right, guys, welcome and happy Friday. Let's take a look at some of the options activity from yesterday's session. We're going to kick things off with some puts, guys. And at the top of our list, names that reported after the bell a couple of sessions ago, guys. Tesla and Google. We're going to be looking at these $320 strike prices respectively on each name. Now let's keep a focus on that specific level. And then obviously what we're going to do here is we're going to take a look at where we can find some potential or temporary floors. Now, as for the open interest on Tesla, 14,000 contracts there. You can see on yesterday's session, that was around our low, $320 or so. Now, let's see if this can hold up, but it's the substantial volume that we're seeing through this specific strike price, I should say, 139,000 contracts opened and closed. Now, as for Google, same narrative, guys. We're going to be looking for that floor. Where are we going to find the support? And that could be here at $320. Now, open interest sitting at 5,900, and then volume 1,900 contracts at that specific level. I'm personally going to be looking for some form of a bounce here on Tesla through the intraday session. Once again, guys, don't force it, be patient, and allow the price action and tape to determine whether that setup is going to work or not. All right, moving forward, we'll go through a couple of other names here, guys. The Nasdaq, SPY, and NVDA, all on our list here. We're going to be looking at some potential ceilings here. Now, as for the Qs, 695, guys, all of these expirations are going to be today. So at the end of the session, these will no longer be tradable, all right, guys? So remember and keep that in mind. 10,000 contracts at this $695 marker with 72,000 contracts open and closed on yesterday's session. Now, as for SPY, 750, a potential ceiling there, guys. But I wouldn't be surprised if we get some momentum in some of these larger market capitalization names start to move and recover, which I'm referring to as Google and Tesla. It can most definitely help drag the market up a little bit higher. But 750 here on the SPY is where you're going to see the most amount of open interest on this specific expiration cycle. Volume at 43,600. Open and closed on yesterday's session. Once again, NVDA 210. We had a high of the week, Sharif, at $214 or so. Let's see if we can absorb this. Open interest isn't substantial, but volume open and closed on yesterday's session sitting around 41,000 contracts open and closed. Let's see if some of these levels come into play here today, guys. Let's send it back to Neil and Sean.
Okay, so
About NVIDIA? Here's this statistic regarding NVIDIA and Intel. We're all impressed with Intel's earnings. It's all about, it was like the GPU growth is impressive. That's been the big thing. That's been great for them. NVIDIA's GPU growth was even better. Like their last report, it was like over 90% for them. So think about that. Like NVIDIA, like the thing that is driving Intel, NVIDIA is still having much better growth with, and NVIDIA is cheaper. So that's the crazy thing about NVIDIA's value right now is you just start comparing them to any of their peers, for lack of a better term. Not that they have direct ones, and they just get cheaper and cheaper. As for that wall that you're talking about here today, I'd be very surprised if we get a relief rally today. I would be a little surprised if you could crack the tops. Just going into the weekend. Obviously, there's always geopolitical concerns. Earnings season picks up even bigger and full next week. Like, there's a lot that would make me skeptical that you could get through that top. So while, yeah, I think great support at the 200 area on NVIDIA. It's diddling in the middle. If it gets up to that top, it's a fade. But yeah, I still think they're so cheap right now compared to some of their peers. It's like for all of the reasons that you look to want to have put Intel's quarter on a pedestal, it also makes NVIDIA look even better than they did yesterday.
Yeah, I'd like NVIDIA to start like announcing a bigger stock buyback or something exciting to get that stock going, because they're still way long until their earnings. They're one of the last big tech names, them and Broadcom, reporting near the end. So, and the reason why we talk about Broadcom, I think we have some DRAM excitement potentially. I mean, nice battle back there from some of the lows down into $50. We've had a good couple days right there for DRAM. So I want to kind of look over here, Micron, SanDisk, all these names. I mean, if there's still going to be the demand, all we've done is confirm that there's still demand in the space, right, for all this RAM. I mean, we talked about going into CPUs, right, and how that's been a good boon for Intel there. And then we had Google with the CapEx, and we had Tesla with the CapEx, and now the meaningful CapEx coming from Intel. This is all going to, funnel back in somewhere, and I think it's going to be obviously back into these names. And I want to look at playing long off of some of these dips, right? I mean, you got DRAM to the downside today, you got Micron. I mean, why are these names down? I don't really see a reason for that right now. You got to deal with Oracle there again. So there's still lots of money in this space, and you're starting to make a little bit of a comeback. This is like Micron's at a very interesting level because you could break back, and it's at 1,000 as well. Like, not only is the 50 period a key level, but it's also at rate at $1,000, and that's a good psychological level. We've bounced in and around there the last little while, but if we can get above it and hold it, then I do think that is another rally point to get back up to the upside. I mean, you're down 20%, right, from 1,200 down to 900. Well, I mean, it was lower than 900, but down to 1,000 right now. So that's about your 18 or so percent right there back in. I think it's about time that Micron gets going, because we're going to hear more CapEx spend from Microsoft next week and Meta next week, and major tech players coming through. We're not going to hear about it from Apple, but everybody that's coming out, Marvell, even Micron themselves are later, but these names are going to come out and prove that there still is demand in the space. If we're going to be hitting these names because of CapEx, then that money should be flowing somewhere. Like, I was really surprised yesterday that when Google was downside, and I think Google's also a free cash flow problem. I mean, this is the first time they've been free cash flow negative, and so traders don't like that. But on a move down yesterday in Google, I would have thought that there would have been more excitement for the components, because Google, again, still a lot of demand out there for the hyperscalers, and it just seems like we're not moving as much as we should in SanDisk and Micron and in that kind of a space. So definitely a look there. And I was also thinking about Bitcoin today, because 65,000, it's not really moving around that much, but this has been pretty good areas down into here to buy. I mean, yesterday we did get some good dip buy opportunities, and then you are sloping down, obviously, on this 50-period moving average, but you have reclaimed it a little bit, and that's at 36.50 or so, just those areas that we were just talking about.
You still got an offer?
From down here. What was that?
Look at the offer.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, I saw
something.
There's a big Nasdaq guy there at 85. So it was actually higher. I thought it was 5,000 the last time I saw it. So about 4 million shares sitting there at 85.
Somebody wants to sell.
And that, that could be the top. They could just lift that, like, that's no problem. And again, because it's an ETF, if Bitcoin starts to run, then someone will just scoop that up, right? Because the ARB. So they'll be like, oh, what the hell?
Yeah.
IBIT's getting held down by this, one guy here, or whoever this trader is right there. Meanwhile, Bitcoin's ripping. But again, not too many stories. We did have some Clarity Act there earlier on in the week, and then that may not go through. And Bitcoin on the downward trend here. But like I said yesterday, even though we bounced off there, bounced again, kept on recovering from these levels, and that happens to be the 50-period moving average. So maybe there is some love down here for Bitcoin around 36.60. And we're just hearing in our ear that, of course, AMD continues to move higher, and this makes sense now, right? Because we talk about the CPU game being quite strong there for Intel. So AMD catching a little bit of a tailwind here with that story as well. So, I mean, a few names, it seems like they're all wrapped up into the same. And we've been talking a lot of the similar
AMD gave good
ideas.
Numbers at their AI event.
Oh, that's right. They had the event
as well.
yesterday.
So
yeah.
they came with some good projections there, and I think that's going to give it maybe a little bit of a boost. At one point, it's only at 1.5%, but they were saying their central processing unit was going to grow like 50% by 2030. So they're giving some rosy projections. It was before. I know we have Michael coming on in a quick little segment. You were mentioning the memory chip names, and I looked over. I'm like, whoops, not SkyQ, SK Hynix. SkyQ just broke 7. That's why it was kind of in my brain. No, SK Hynix is down 2 points. So like DRAM was down, Micron's down. Like there's no stories on the memory names specifically, other than hey, they're as a group like Samsung and SK Hynix are apparently going to link or inking large chip supply deals with U.S. firms. That was a Bloomberg report this morning. Somehow we're down on that this morning. So it's weird. There's not a lot of big gappers, but these being down as a group is something to watch because there doesn't seem to be much of a catalyst for them to be weaker than the overall market. But that's what we are seeing. Let's go back up to the desk. We do have, like I said, we're going to have Michael Noss coming on. Still a half an hour before we take you into the free watch list. So still lots to cover. Oh, are we? I usually do my sign off. There we go.
All right, let's bring in Michael Noss when we have the opportunity. No? We're not going to bring him? Okay. Okay, that's fine. We'll just move on. We'll move on for a second here. All right, guys, let's talk a little bit about CRM. $1.6 billion deal. They struck a deal here with the Department of Veterans Affairs to modernize their healthcare operations. There's a lot to this contract, Sia, because it's not going to be $1.6 billion up front. There's a lot of contract milestones they got to reach.
Absolutely. There are contract milestones. So it's a multi-year indefinite delivery agreement. That number is very pertinent to them later at a later date delivering all the milestones and hitting all the milestones. That's when that entire money gets paid out. It is not at one go. So they're going to have to complete certain tasks, just like you do, and then you get paid for it. That's what's happening here. So they've announced that the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, VA, has awarded the company through its distribution network a $1.6 billion 3-year agentic enterprise license agreement. Now, the legality here, the legal probe here, Sharif, is that to comply with a strict VA privacy protocol, the contract includes a strict contractual ban on any kind of data retention. Now, this is something that we do know a lot of companies are struggling with. So legal retention here is that it stops governments or companies from storing people's personal information, internet history, or any phone records. And Salesforce is legally prohibited from using veteran health interactions, clinical transcripts, or administrative queries to train or also any kind of way fine-tune its broader foundation models or Agentforce baseline algorithms. Salesforce, one thing to remember, is not capturing 100% of the contract value. Like Sharif said, a significant chunk of this total funding will flow directly to federal master aggregator Carahsoft Technology Corp., and government system integration partners like Accenture Federal and Deloitte here.
That's very important, guys. We also want to keep in focus here that Agentforce, this is their, I don't want to say last hurrah, but they've been heavily disrupted. Look at the chart by AI, and they've been trying to find a client for Agentforce for a while. Good look here for the government. Again, as Sia mentioned, though, non-guaranteed income with a lot of strings attached with milestones. All right, we're ready for Michael Noss. Good morning. It's been a while.
How's it going?
Since you and I spoke. How you doing?
I know. It's been too long. How are things?
Things are all right over here. The weather is decent. Good. We might have, a little bit of a wishy-washy weekend. How are things on the East Coast?
Just got through with a big rainstorm, but we're actually clearing up on the weekend. So
that's good to know.
A little better than you guys, I think.
All right. I was reading the title here, Michael. I never really liked the word bled, but when you're when you're bleeding up, that usually is a bit of an exception to the bleeding thing there. But let's talk a little Nasdaq, shall we?
Absolutely. And this is, I think, might be one of the best rotations I've seen. And I think this is like the best bull case that you can paint. And, again, we'll talk about this a bit at the end. But yeah, the NASDAQ is down. You guys are talking about SK Hynix, and a lot of these DRAM names are down. But the market's it's holding up fine. So this is one of those moments where it's great to dive in a little bit under the hood. And if you were sleeping, I guess, yesterday. Tesla got smoked. Google got smoked. Those are two massive names, hugely important in the whole AI trade. Nasdaq was down 2%. But then if you look at the Dow, it kind of barely moved. And this is why it's so important, I think, to really kind of internalize and understand what you're looking at when you're looking at these different indices and what do they represent. And it's why you see most traders and investors are quoting the different ones because they're all saying something a little bit different. No one's just looking at the S&P 500 or the Nasdaq or anything. And the reason for that is this next slide here, which just shows the weight of the S&P 500. So there's 10 stocks that make up 37%, and the other 490, there's 63%. So it's, 1/3, 2/3. So if those big names are selling off in the way they have been, your Microns and all of this, SanDisks and all of that, and the market's barely moving, it means that the other 490 stocks have to really be holding their weight. And that's what rotation is people are taking profits in one side, but they're not running to cash. They're not running to gold. They're not running to safe haven assets. They're just buying other companies with it, which, again, I think is a good case for continuation of the bull side of things. So where did the money go? So this next chart is just a chart of what happened yesterday here. So you can see consumer discretionaries, which the consumer discretionary ETF, XLK, I think, XLY, sorry, is basically 50% Amazon and Tesla. So that's why it had such a really bad down day. But if you look at the names that were doing well, you've got industrials, which generally speaking isn't too defensive. Healthcare, utilities, argument there that that's defensive and energy. So very quickly you can just see, okay, they didn't flood to cash. They went out of one place and into another. This next chart just kind of, again, shows this again, but with some equal weight. So the negative 1.2%, that is the cap-weighted ETF. So it just shows the bigger the company, the more of effect it has. So it's going to be that big cap tech and the big tech weighting on that side of things. But then the only down 0.4%, that's the equal weight. You can, RSP is the ETF. And, down, up or down 0.5% is kind of a rounding error. Just showing again that everyone else is kind of stepping up to carry the weight when this thing is selling off. Another couple charts just to kind of hammer the point home. This is just a spaghetti chart from the beginning of the year till now, what these individual markets look like. You can see Russell on top, 2,000 of the smallest companies, kind of ma and pa organizations, they're on the top. And look at when that started to occur, right? The Qs have been kind of beating them up until the top, where there seems to be this rotation kind of kick in. And that's because of this next chart, which is the energy. And so you would think, hey, what's the best performing thing this year? If you're just looking at the kind of headlines and narratives, you'd say, oh, it's the AI trade. That's what's doing everything. But energy is actually the top performer, then technology, and we have industrials and real estate kind of right below that. And that's, I think, great. And consumer discretionary on the bottom, and consumer or comm services, again, that's that weighting with Tesla there as well. So the last two charts are just the same charts, but just weighted from this June 1st, which was June 1st, June 2nd was the high. If you see the sectors that are up still from that point, we have the Russell and the Dow. These are your defensive names, but more importantly, especially the Russell, that's 2,000 different companies of the smaller kind of cap companies, which are industrials and small banks and biotechs and things like that, with NASDAQ really leading the charge to the downside. And that's for the last chart here. And this shows, again, from that June 1st high, here's the sectors that are doing well versus poorly. Healthcare is up 10%. Financials are up 9%. These are massive industries that are doing just fine when consumer and technology, consumer discretionary, these are down. So why do I think that this is so bullish for the market? It's a lot of the narrative. I remember people saying, oh, it's only 7 stocks that are holding up the market. Just wait till those stocks start to sell off. Well, we've had it. We've had these stocks selling off, and the market's kind of barely moved. If you look at equal weight versions, if you look at the Russell 2000, that kind of the small cap company, these are barely off their highs, but yet DRAM stocks, SK Hynix, all these, SpaceX just getting crushed, all of these big cap, large tech names. So I just look at this and say this is healthy rotation. if you are feeling the pain right now, it's likely just because you're too invested inside this growth side of things. And I don't look at this so much as they're going to defensive names, because of the fact that healthcare, some of that's, not defensive. Financials, I don't really consider that defensive. So I don't think it's a risk on, risk off thing. I just think it's people made a lot of money in the AI trade and now they're rotating somewhere else. And if we're going to think this trend is going to continue, then we could see this outperformance, which for us traders just means probably time to broaden your horizon. Might not be as interesting buying a JP Morgan as it is buying an SK Hynix, but one of them's hitting new all-time highs and the other one's just kind of barely holding on.
All right. This is interesting at the end here. I just wanted to say something. If you told me about a couple of weeks ago that the Mag 7 as a whole would be green, and the Nasdaq would have ended up being red, I wouldn't have believed you because of the cap weighting, as you just mentioned. But that's exactly the kind of day that we got. I believe it was a couple of weeks ago where all 7 of them were green, but the chips, the semis, were all red on that day, and the Nasdaq ended up being red. So I just want to point that out to kind of boost to your point. The other point that I want to mention, Michael, are you seeing money flow into small caps? So I was doing a little, I know you go through your ETFs on a weekly basis. I was going through mine as well. I was looking at the IWM best performing, major average ETF year to date. Are you seeing something to show you perhaps money flow index, some sort of indicator coming out of heavy tech and into small caps or somewhere else?
Yeah, I think this is an easy one to do with relative charts. So, your trading view or trend spiders, whatever, you can just do one symbol, divide it by another. And I don't have these charts ready, but if you look at IBB, which is your biotech index, that thing has just been absolutely ripping. And if you think about what are the components of these smaller companies, well, smaller companies are usually either small banks or small industrial companies. Yeah, like that IBB chart when that broke out, that's insane. And a lot of biotechs, a lot of companies that are trying to discover a drug, but they're smaller companies because they don't have any revenue because they can't, sell the thing until they get the drug approval, or they're waiting to be a buyout. So this is one of those moments where I think doing this kind of relative analysis and doing, the Qs versus whatever stock that you're looking at, or IWM versus the Qs, and these relative charts really shine because generally speaking, it's been Qs have been king, right? You've been investing in tech or you've been underperforming until about a month ago, and that's where things are starting to shift here.
Okay. Great information, Michael Moss. Thank you as always. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. And don't enjoy that weekend too much over there. But we'll hold it down over here, Michael. Good to speak to you. Speak to you soon.
Chat Monday. Have a good one.
Sure.
All right, guys, fantastic stuff. As always, by Mr. Michael Noss. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. We're going to kick things off with some downgrades. Northrop Grumman at the top of our list, guys. Going to get a price target reduction from $635 to $600 from JP Morgan. Slightly positive this morning. Then Comcast actually going from a $29 price target. That is down from $30. We're down 1% here. Equal weight rating there, guys, by Morgan Stanley. Now the Canadian company, the Canadian Goose, Canada Goose here, guys, down 2.7%, going from a hold to a sell with a $10 Canadian price target. That is down from $12. Williams Trading giving them the downgrade. Now, Huntington Bancorp here, guys, overweight to an equal weight. $19 is that price target. That is down from $21. Morgan Stanley giving them the downgrade. Moving forward, we'll take a look at some of the upgrades here. And what we have at the top of the list is Intel reporting yesterday after the bell, guys, slightly positive this morning, 3.9%, with a $98 price target. That is up from $60. The Tech Bulls Wedbush giving them the approval. Honeywell also reporting, guys, we're up 0.6% here, a little bit more, $279 price target. No specific rating on this one, but that target is up from $260. Now, Digital Realty Group here, up 3.6% with an overweight rating, $235 price target. That is up from $230. JP Morgan increasing that target. Now, Union Pacific also on the list, guys, flat today. BMO Capital increasing their price target to $320. That is up from $285. Those are your analyst actions here this morning. Send it back to Neil and Sean.
Thanks, Joe, and well, thank you to Michael as well. You can't talk about rotation without sometimes not talking about industrial companies, and Honeywell here on the verge of a potential breakout for it. It's not usually the most exciting. I get it. No one's day trading Honeywell. Almost nobody would be day trading Honeywell that I'd be aware of. But we were mentioning this one yesterday. That 250, it's got its laser sights on it for potential breakout. And you just look at some of these companies and look at some of these charts. I had Tesla monthly up, but we'll throw a monthly chart up of, whoops, waiting for it to load as if it's not HON, not HOM. And you look at this, like this steady eddy growth that this name has had. It's just steady, steady, steady. And all you really have to do is wait for a little bit of a dip on these quality names, watch it come into like a major moving average, whatever it might be. In this case, the monthly, it's a 50 period, gently catches it, and then it bounces. Now, you're not going to get the crazy double ups or the 10Xs out of them, but when you get it off of the lows, they do help you withstand some of the drawbacks you might see in the tech space. Yeah, good name there, Honeywell. Not surprised Intel got an upgrade. I mean, it was such a good quarter. It's outside of the CapEx, them getting an upgrade is low-hanging fruit. And shout out to Canada Goose for all the wrong reasons. That's one of those charts that's like way worse than you realize because you actually haven't looked at it in a while, and it just keeps on going lower.
I don't know if we just missed a story or something on Palantir, but it kind of just went
I was trying to look for
down there. Like it went whoops and whoops, right back up there right now. So Palantir just sort of leading the day here. Up, Citigroup upgrade. Oh, Citigroup lower. Okay. All right. Well, it's up. So I don't. We'll figure out. Palantir apparently just caught a downgrade there maybe, but I still like the stock up 1.24% right now. So I just want to wait to see what's going on. But look at the Nasdaq, man. Damn it, starting to get red there. So if we had that poll up, which we do of course have, maybe we can show the screen. We can see what the stats of that poll is right now. Neil has it.
64%.
64% green.
64% green, and obviously 36 red here. So yeah.
I mean, so whoever voted. I mean, we were up 0.25 when we started that vote, and now you're basically red. We're trying to turn red. The thing about it is the Nasdaq sitting right here on VWAP. I want this market to open up like right now so we can start to trade this thing. It looks like we're gonna not have a very successful Friday, in my opinion, right now. I think we are gonna go red, and we may stay that way. I mean, we'll get choppy, and will we retest up here? I don't know. But that's not good, man. This is just the last 20 minutes, like 2 or 3 green candles, and you make this move back in, and now we're gonna have to wait to see about trying to defend this level there pre-home sales or whatever. That was actually, no, that's at 7, that's a 6 a.m. candle right there. 7 a.m. candle, right there. So we'll have to wait to see if we wind up holding some of these bids down here. So I don't know, man. It's not looking great as far as this market is concerned. No, that is the 8 a.m. It says 7 down here. That's because it's Chicago time. So yeah, that's 8 a.m. right there. So that is that number that we got from housing. And then, oh no, it wasn't housing, was it? Hold on a second here. What was that number at 8 o'clock? Oh, building permits. Okay, so housing's coming at 10 o'clock. Sorry. So building permits, a little better than expected there. So creates, that's nice, more action there. But definitely not trying to hold that level right now back into VWAP. So I don't know. I think we nailed it with that poll. Like, where is this market going to go today? I do want to find some relative strength. That might be Palantir. So that's why I was thinking, like, if the market's going to go up, I want to trade Palantir to the long side. And then I was looking at SpaceX down 1% here today. It's going to be on my note. You're going to wait till we talk about it before we figure out which way. But yeah, SpaceX right there did have a nice little bottom there of 115, but also a good top in and around 120. So maybe it's a little bit more of a sideways day. We had some traders yesterday, including Lindenmeyer there in the chat, talking about 111 may be the bottom, and we may not see that for a while. I don't know about that one, but you're coming back in right now on SpaceX looking at 115 right here. So that could be a key level as well. We had to pay for shorts, just a very, very small amount. And we are going to go over Intel. I mean, it's going to be the #1 name on our watch list today. And it's pretty calmed down here over the last hour or so, right? I mean, it doesn't want to break 104 or 103 right now. But if any guesses which one it's going to break first, I mean, you're 1 cent away from 103. And then when that breaks, that low is 102.60. Then we take that, then it's floodgates open. on Intel, right? Underneath VWAP, it's not being supported here in the pre-market. I think if you're got a little bit anxious right now to make a trade, I think you can trade Intel to the short side on this break of 102.60. So that's going to be an exciting one anyways, needless to say right there if we break it. So let's wait to see what winds up happening here on Intel. Negative. I mean, here's the push down lower. We like the quarter, but the market doesn't like what it's seeing right here from many of the names. And then I thought yesterday we would get a day 2 bounce from Google, and we're actually not at all. It tried, and now it's just getting hit again to the downside. So I don't know. I'm starting to turn a little negative here and a little bearish.
If Google and Tesla can't bounce, then what brings the market
Tesla,
higher?
I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying the two big earnings names from yesterday.
Yeah, they should be bouncing.
If they don't get like a relief rally after that bad day, 14 and 7% downside, and then now Intel, it's hard to imagine you're going to get a lot of strength. Like I actually have SMCI on the list today to look for a short, and one of the reasons I want to look at this stock is just the volatility of the last few sessions. It's been one of the more volatile stocks. We were pointing that in the lesson yesterday that something goes parabolic, and then all of a sudden, like you got 10 to 12% range in the opening range yesterday, and then it's 2 days ago, and then it's opening range yesterday. That 6% move. The 6% move up, that's the same volatility that SpaceX had off the open, that Lucid had off the open, that some of the, that's crazy. And it wasn't even on anybody's radar. So I expect this stock is going to be volatile one more time. I did want to also throw out there, and I'm going to throw up to the desk in a quick second. For anyone that might have been interested, I saw someone put in the chat that NVVE, NVVE, I should say. You now have to find it on the OTC markets because they got delisted. So they are now on the OTC. So if you happen to have had shares in NVVE and were trading it yesterday and got stuck, well, this is where you will find it, NVVE over on the OTC market. So that delisting's already happened.
That probably won't be the symbol.
Well, that's what it is in our platform.
Yeah, I don't think.
I don't know if it will be, but on our platform, that's what we're looking at right now. But it might not be. But either way,
it might be.
Sometimes usually it has a fifth letter initially, but something like delisting of small caps is something that is going to possibly be a little bit more frequent. Sharif, as you were pointing out with that update yesterday.
Yeah, very interesting yesterday, Neil. So the new rule is as follows on the Nasdaq, guys. If you have your market cap below $5 million for 30 consecutive business days, you're getting delisted. There's no grace period. There's no appeals process. You're out. And that's how we knew that one was going to get dropped off from the Nasdaq onto the pink sheets. And that's kind of, that was the ARB yesterday. People were pushing it up. And then, of course, as the trading day wound down, people knew where it was going to open up today. So then the short came in. It was all sorts of crazy, right? A lot of people were locked in. They were locked in short. And people wanted to know, hey, I'm short this name, but it's going to open up on the OTC. What do I do? Well, we looked into it, of course, and that your shares will carry there onto the OTC, onto the pink sheets. The problem is liquidity is going to be far less, okay? The spreads are going to be way wider, and your carrying costs for the short, if you had to borrow, if you had to pay it, you're going to continue to pay it on a daily basis until it opens. So that's kind of the change there. So, but as you pointed out, Neil, that probably causes a lot more volatility, the downside, especially for these names that are headed to the pink sheets. But thank you for letting me point that out. Let's talk a little bit about Amkor. They have a big deal here with NVIDIA for $1.5 billion. It's a packaging deal, Derek. Excuse me. Tell us about
that's okay. I understand. It is a packaging deal indeed. Let's get into the nitty-gritty and what is this deal. So NVIDIA has signed a multi-year agreement with AMKR. You're absolutely right about that. It's valued at $1.5 billion. Now, this is upfront. It will be a prepayment, not an installment payment like we saw in CRM.
Right.
This is to expand advanced chip packaging and also the testing facility in the United States. So under this agreement, NVIDIA will make that prepayment to support the expansion of AMKR's U.S. operations that includes mainly the capacity in Arizona. Amkor is known for packaging, and this is what the deal also extends. So it follows the 10-year partnership with TSMC, which is the deal that will complete the missing link for the United States chip manufacturing. NVIDIA can also now process wafers at TSMC's Phoenix Labs, and also send them directly to Amkor for this advanced packaging over here that creates the first fully domestic end-to-end quote unquote silicon to package US supply chain without shipping any kind of wafers back to Asia, not chips, wafers. Make it, sorry, I just wanted to make a joke there. And also just something to keep an eye out for is that this, again, will also jointly develop and package testing technologies for NVIDIA's AI and accelerated computing platforms. It will also strengthen Amkor's role in the US semiconductor supply chain, is also something you want to keep in mind as well. In June, the company had entered a 10-year partnership with TSMC, that's Taiwan Semiconductor, to expand domestic packaging capabilities. That's why you heard me say the TSMC facility is where they'll also be getting access in Arizona. So Amkor also works on the side with AMD, is something you should also know. Finally, we have UBS analysts, just I saw this morning, Randy Abrams, that upgraded AMKR to buy from neutral and has raised the price target to $90 from $80.
All right, guys, we've been seeing the packaging becoming a lot more important now, especially with the proliferation of the CPU and RAM now being all on the same circuit board. It really popped up aggressively, boys, after the bell yesterday into 81, trading about $9 below that, but still up 11 1/4.
You don't need chips or wafers when you have a good cookie. None of that matters. But the thing about an oatmeal raisin cookie is it's kind of like a stock that's, gapping up, right? There's a ratio of the volume of the cookie and the amount of raisins that you're going to want in a good oatmeal raisin cookie. If there's too few raisins in there, then it's only an okay cookie and it's not great. And you can be gapped up, but if there's not enough pre-market volume, then you're like, oh, well, how tradable is that going to be? Is it giving you any extra? I think that's probably the only thing. It's a good story. It's probably the only thing that's weighing this down a little bit from not being all over everybody's watch list. So it's already like a 60-cent spread on a $70 stock. Like that's almost a full percentage point on spread. That's not insignificant at the open. It's the kind of thing that can get you like rinsed on an opening print, because at 9:30 it just kind of does some craziness to you. But the trend is pretty solid here with AMKR on the bounce. Like there's the daily. It's been running right into this 50-period moving average. So that's that 75 that's going to have to go. So as long as it can hold on to, say, 72, you'd want to break out of 75, probably a stronger one to see how it does with this news and maybe look for it in swings. But that volume a little bit low for me. It's like all the reasons why I was saying, I want to be looking at, obviously, like Intel's going to do extra volume today, or like SMCI has been giving you trades because of its news 2 or 3 days ago, and it still is. Here, it needs to prove that it can do some extra volume for us because it's already on the low side.
Okay, yeah, good referencing the cookies over there.
Oh, this cookie is like rock hard.
Yeah, it's rock hard. Oh, I didn't even see them there. Yeah, downside play. There's the Nasdaq. We just talked about it not holding VWAP. Unfortunately, we just took down the levels there. So yeah, man, I mean, the thought of going short today looks like it's going to be good to go maybe off the open, and then we see if we have a rebound. But there it is, breaking through VWAP and getting lower right now is the Nasdaq. So this is not looking very nice right here. I would say you've broken now below. No economic news to sort of help this name out or help this space out. We did Google holding. We have Tesla maybe at some key levels as well. AMD still up that 1%. This might be where the love is today. We talked about the valuation of an NVIDIA today. Also Apple. NVIDIA 208 is fine. I mean, I like the 206 level there. Apple, again, maybe something to look at outside of this whole memory sort of chip game here. Apple trying to hold anyways some of these bids. Yesterday's levels around 320. We'll see if that can hold for Apple, but still zeros on the day there. And some names that are kind of what's up to J-Town here. We'll have SkyQ has been moving around obviously here again today, but oil is down. So, potentially here for SkyQ up 17%. We can see what winds up happening with this name. Another one just keeps on blasting. I mean, this looks actually pretty good. And I remember trading this on Monday or Tuesday there. And it was at $4, and we stopped out. Maybe we went long 4, and we got out. I think it was 440. Maybe it was 340, but I think it was 440. And then all the way to the upside and breaking into some levels that we had seen back from May. So with oil down, Sky up 17-18%. Wondering about a short maybe around the 750s, 760 area there for SkyQ. So. All right, in the last 2 days, I really like the watch list. I usually skip it because there's too many tickers. Would it be nice if you keep it that way? I really like the watches. I usually skip it because there are too many tickers. Okay. Well, it'd be nice if you keep it that way. It's a matter of what's happening.
I feel like, excuse me, on the days where there are more things to look at, I think you want to have a breadth of ideas out there. Let's be real. Like a lot of it is going to be market driven. Like on Wednesday, you may get like major earnings. So next Wednesday, I should say. Like next Wednesday, you're going to have crazy amounts of earnings, and then anything that happens in small cappers and upgrades and downgrades. And then on like a Friday, you're always going to have less things on a Friday. There's less earnings reports, probably not as much stuff in the morning. There's ebbs and flows.
Like I skip over names that I know I'm not going to be trading. You know, so I think
you still want them there.
Yeah, you got to have the ability to look at whatever opportunities are there. And if we only put in 5 names, but there's 10, things moving around, those other 5 might be somebody else's choice. And that might be like what their preference is to trade small caps or mid caps or not mega caps. For me, I'm looking for the stories for the Oracles and for the Googles of this world, and others might be looking for Livewire, for example, that's on there today. But yeah, it's changed a little bit. Adara does a lot of the work, obviously, on the watch list. So her not being here, we've adjusted it a little bit, and it's been great. So I still don't. Just for me, I haven't even received it yet. So if some of you guys are having issues,
come on,
with it, you'll get it soon. I'm assuming. I don't think Joe got it yet either. So if you guys are in good company if you have it, that's for sure. Maybe something internally here, but I hope everyone's got it today. It's 9 o'clock. We're about to go through the watch list right now. And Mike, I just saw a note from you, Mike Peter Ryder there. If I go over into fan funding, I can just find it real quickly. And it was right here. You mentioned that wouldn't it be easier to manipulate? Why does it keep doing that? There it is. You got it on your screen. Okay, so we'll look at it that way. Yes and no. The problem with the OTC markets is they have different rules there, right? And you don't even, like posted size that you see up here, like on an FNMA. And I don't know what the quote is for NVVE yet. So once it opens up, hopefully it'll be part of a volume spike or something on that one. But they don't have to fill the order immediately when you go over to some of the market makers here. They have a certain, I think it's 20 or 30 seconds to decide if they want to fill it. There's not as many lit gateways over here on the OTC as there is on the Nasdaq. So it is maybe potentially easier to manipulate, for sure, but it's a completely different game altogether when it comes over here. So you could definitely look at it. I wouldn't worry too much about manipulation. NVVE, like that's what we have, as Neil said. Oh, there it is. Yeah, we do have a quote. So, okay. So it's at 325 right now. Only 7 shares done volume-wise. That might be nothing. There it is at 325, 7 shares. So what was it yesterday on the Nasdaq? NVVE, what was the...
I'd have to call it up.
Oh, 350. Okay, yeah. So it's going over at the same price.
Pretty much the same.
So if we actually call it up in the Nasdaq, remember, we don't have... we should still have this symbol.
Why don't we...
Okay. So anyways, it looks like here yesterday, on the continuation there, it looks like it was 350, 340, something like that at the close there yesterday. So it halted up at 9,876 down there. It looks like it might have made a bottom. So if you're going to look for something to trade off today on the OTC markets, that low there on NVVE yesterday was 260. So right now you're going to trade, I don't know where you're going to trade, but 325 has one print there. So 325 on the bid and really nothing on the ask. So you're going to wait to see what winds up happening with this name. But yesterday we got as high as $4 on the breakout back up through the halts. So that was $4. So I think you could get a $4 top. You're probably doing pretty good. And then I would look to go short on a 260 breakdown as well. So that's NVVE. And yeah, thanks everybody for pointing that out, that it went over there to the pink sheets. And yeah, as far as being manipulated, yeah, less eyes looking at you over there on the OTC markets, but still regulated markets. So you have to watch out for what's going on there. And Intel on our mind, sent gift.
Oh, we have news to see, but shout out to Reds there from TikTok. Thank you for the gift. Our community has teared up. We agree with you. Let's go to the desk. We've got some news.
Keep an eye out on Google here. GOOGL signing $1 billion+ data center fiber deal with Verizon. That's VZ. Verizon has secured a deal worth more than $1 billion to provide dark fiber connectivity for Google's data centers. Now, dark fiber is what gives Google dedicated network capacity that it can operate with its own equipment. And Verizon CEO Dan Schulman has said more agreements are expected by the year end. Combined, those deals could generate multiple billions of dollars in revenue over the next several years. VZ and GOOGL on watch.
VZ did report this morning, guys, so keep your eye on that. Let's have a look at the futures. 738 and change is where we closed out yesterday on the SPY. That means that we lost that 740 on a closing basis. But look out for the 3-period rule for that 740 close. We're below it right now, but barely looking at 739 and a quarter. So the first things first, if we open up, we get through that 740, look for that 740 either as resistance or support and the subsequent price action. If we continue to trend up, it's simple. 745 as R1. If we sell off, we're looking to that 735 yesterday where we double bottomed on the 4-hour chart. See ya as support. Watch list?
Absolutely. So just a quick reminder, make sure to get the free watch list every morning. It comes straight into your inbox and helps you prepare for your day. It has all the big market movers, earnings reports, and what we're watching right into the open. And guess what? We make sure we get it straight sent to your inbox every single morning. So make sure to subscribe to that.
Make sure. Absolutely, guys. All right, let's talk about Intel. Reported after the bell yesterday. Good report for Intel. It's up on the morning about 2.5%. Top line beat, non-GAAP EPS surge. What else can you tell us, Sia?
It is important to know for Intel that the biggest strength over here and in the report has come from data centers for Intel, very specifically. They have revenue in that sector just has jumped 59%. Like I say, a whopping 59%. As AI-driven demand over here for server processors has continued to outpace supply. Like I said, there is more demand than what these companies can seem to provide over here. Management has also said that their customers are signing long-term CPU supply agreements and demand remains stronger than, like I said, Intel can manufacture. So looking ahead of this, Intel has guided third quarter revenue of between the range of $15.8 billion to $16.8 billion, adjusted EPS of 38 cents, both well ahead of Wall Street's expectations. Management has also highlighted improving gross margins. Expanding foundry revenue also increased capital spending as it continues to accelerate AI and its manufacturing strategy. So, to come to end of it, Intel shares are up 170% so far in this year as of yesterday's close after soaring 84% last year. However, it has slumped a little bit this month in July and shares are down 28%.
All right, guys. The x86 server CPU is back in vogue, and Intel is taking all the opportunities to make as much money as they can off these things.
Yes, they are, and it was a great quarter, and it's the fastest revenue growth in 15 years and all that stuff. But we did point out that if you compare that growth to NVIDIA within the same sector, then 92 versus 59 is still favoring the company that is cheaper right now. The other thing, which I think, if we're being real, the reaction was pretty favorable when we got the numbers right after the bell. You guys all saw it. This gap down, everybody knows that you're getting punished for spending right now. Like the market's saying, oh, CapEx, don't like that. That's too much. The market's not happy with it, so let's pull the plug and let's let your stock go down. Well, these guys didn't tell you how much they were going to increase by. They just said a meaningful increase. So it feels as if being vague in this particular case, it's probably just being honest, but being vague, they might be getting punished by that a little bit here for Intel. That's the sense, because everything was all swimmingly until that. All of that being said, if you pull up the chart, sometimes you can look at the big spike up and say, okay, well, when we have fully disseminated information and we can take a step back and look at the report, it's the Wednesday high that's going to sort of stand out to me. It'll be up here into 107. Obviously, we're pretty close to that key $100 level, and it was really 99 to 100 where it bottomed out. But I'm still thinking, as long as if we can't get above 107, then this thing turns into a fade type of stock for me today. I already went over the other chip name I'm looking at, SMCI, but for Intel, we're a little closer to that earlier in the morning, so it's maybe not as much of a chance that we get up to 107, but there's plenty of volatility in the stock today. It was supposed to do a 12% move. It's done too. So I don't want to back away from that 107 level just because we've fallen a few dollars before the open.
Yeah, I have written down here, I'm just getting this sticky note finished, but I have written down as a long at $100. I mean, let's just wait to see. As I said, if we drop below, which we're doing right now, we just took out that day's low in the pre-market where we didn't actually have the action that I thought. We only went down to 102.20 there, so we only broke off about 50 cents to the downside. Until we get above these levels, like I think a long too at 104. Like if we can break, actually I should have probably, maybe I'll write that down before I push send on this one too. I think a long down here at 100, that's where we closed yesterday. Like Neil said, the quarter, everything's great with it. I don't see it. There's a problem here with Intel. Just the market's not reacting nicely to it. If we hit yesterday, we hit Google, we hit Tesla, both of those names down 7-8% respectively, and more, obviously, with Tesla was down 14% or something at the lows there. So you're going to have to watch out. It just, the quarters seemed like a reason to sell. We had that question the other day, like, hey, what do you think is going to happen to the Nasdaq after those two big companies reported? We both said down. It's just a matter of nothing's good enough anymore these days, right? We expecting the world and we're not getting it. So yeah, downside right there. They just mentioned, a little bit of CapEx spend's coming, and next thing you know, this thing gets crushed back into the downside. They're gonna have to spend money to keep up. So I like it down here at 100. We'll look at that. And I also think a 104 break long is something as well. Then you're above VWAP, you're above everything. You're taking out that move there. And anybody caught short is gonna try to cover, I would imagine. So I don't mind a 104.50, whatever this little top there is. Looks like 104.40 or so. I like that break long as well. So I'm long Intel today. It's been a great stock. It's been hit, obviously, in the last month or so. Good quarter, proving that, the chip game is strong there. The PC game is strong. I like Intel to, get back to the high side today and not end the day around 2 or 3%. I would say it's going to go higher for close today, Intel. So if I think it's going to be higher, we just got to try to find spots to get long.
Little Oracle, $7 billion Pentagon contract with the Department of Defense. It's for the next decade, Sia, and there is that headline number of $7 billion, but they're not going to get all of it right away. So it's going to be kind of tiered. Tell us a little bit about it.
They are not, and it's sad this year that although all of this is going on, Oracle's shares have still continued to be down 38% on the year. We do know it. Sean joked about it yesterday. Oracle, so yeah, how could Oracle be down? It's a good stock. So let's talk about Oracle. So the Pentagon has, as of late yesterday, announced a contract with Oracle that is worth almost $7 billion over a decade. Like you said, a big win, yes, for Oracle, which has been punished by investors this year, as we do know it. Stock has risen almost about 3% in trading. Contract covers the use of Oracle software in on-premises data centers for branches of the military, U.S. intelligence community, as well as the Coast Guard. This is coming according to a statement. And the CIA, if you remember, was Oracle's first customer. So a 5-year base period for the contract includes perpetual as well as subscription-based software licenses, maintenance, as well as consulting. And this $6.99 almost billion total dollars is an enterprise software agreement. That's an ESA that merges disparate legacy licenses across certain military branches over here into a single indefinite delivery or indefinite quantity, that is IDIQ framework, with $0 that are obligated at signing. These are very important nitty-gritties to remember with these deals as to if this entire amount that is being mentioned is paid off at front or not. So back in May, we also had the Defense Department that announced Sharif agreements with Oracle and other tech companies as well, that around AI deployments in classified networks. But like I said, Oracle shares not been able to rally.
And guys, we got to point out here, their cloud revenue absolutely skyrocketed 47%, but their software revenue shrank 2% year to date so far. So this deal, it couldn't come at a better time, right? So what's a look?
Yeah, Oracle takes a step back jumper behind the line, drains the 3, and celebrates to cut the score to 100. The market, Oracle 57. What are you supposed to celebrate? It's okay, fine. The 3-pointer's nice. The story's good. It's not that much money.
No, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
It's not that. It's not that much money. It's not a big of enough deal. If this was a bigger deal, then we'd be talking about a breakout today. 100%. I'd be saying 128 break. Oracle's going to give you like the temporary bottom. There's relief rally potential here. All of that's true, except for the fact that this doesn't seem like a big enough catalyst, and obviously that's proven here. It's very slightly gapped up, so it's not like it's not going up. It's up 2 points, but just look at the last week. I can zoom in. Look at the last week or so, and all we've done is go back to, we had gone back to 1030 yesterday, and now we are at, that 1030 candle moved $2 to the downside. So really, we've just fallen $2 from there. So it's not to chuckle and laugh at Oracle or anything. It's just, I don't see this as a big of enough thing to break that trend. What it does at least have going for the stock is, as Sean already pointed out, this is last year's low. So there's there's the potential of continued support at these bottoms because it is last year's support. But this, it's just not big enough.
No, I didn't. I was saying that before. I thought the $7 billion, and plus there's an option there, and the sticky note is now out. By the way, I think I like the stock. I mean, I've already talked about it being a red day here in the market. It seems like that's happening right now again. So there's the fade here in the Nasdaq, and so a name that's been getting hit has been Oracle. I like the fact that it's a deal with the U.S. government. So that's nice. As Sia mentioned there, they've had past dealings here as well. But it's a 10-year deal at $7 billion. That's $700 million a year. It's not a needle mover by any stretch of the imagination for Oracle. And it's also optionality in the last 5 years as well. So it might only be a 5-year deal. And at least it's a deal. So I think that's moving in the right direction. You just want to see if it holds right here, 121.50. As long as it holds into this area, 121, ish, I think we're fine. You just don't want to see it turn red. That's all. If it turns red on the day, then we can, fade any sort of pop after that. Let's just make sure the market likes this name, Oracle. I like it. I actually thinking about putting some money into it just because of where we are on the daily. But I don't want to get too caught up in, as you just mentioned, it's back to these levels right there. I don't want to get too caught up in buying something just because it's at a spot that looks favorable. The stock has to also be favorable. And Oracle's earnings are later, so we can't really judge that until then. We do have big earnings next week that could shape the Nasdaq a little bit more. And if the Nasdaq's getting hit next week, Oracle probably resumes downside play here. So, I like the story here today. If it holds 121, that's a long for me. So you got to go drop down about $1.50 before we get an answer there for Oracle for me. But I still like the stock. I still think that Intel is such a better looking trade today, breaking back above that 104. I have SpaceX written down too. We do have the sticky note out here today, and I didn't get a picture of the gnocchi, but what I had last night was bone-in veal parm, and it was real good, man. I know there's a lot of cheese on here, Sharif, so don't look, but there was.
That is a lot of cheese.
This is like a huge ass.
That's a lot of cheese.
Veal chop. There you can see the gnocchi a little bit in the back there. No, I should have just put our wine. We had nice Chianti there, so the wine should have been there. But man, these plates are awesome too. The plates are gorgeous, and I made some comments about that. But very cheesy, and what a great, bone-in veal chop. I haven't had that in a while, and that was really, really good. So we had that last night, and it was really, really fun time. But here comes Intel, man, breaking down again. I mentioned if we take that low, there's a problem. I'm still looking at $100, but the next story is SAP.
Another company with accelerating cloud and decelerating software. Software plummeting 32% year over year. Cloud growing at a healthy 26% year over year. It's a good report. They're up 5 1/3.
Absolutely. Like you said, cloud acceleration coming in at the direct expense of its legacy software. You have the software licensing revenue, like you said, that has plummeted over 32% year over year. Revenue has risen, however, 11% to 9.88 billion euros. That is slightly ahead of estimates. Operating profit has also increased 27.8%, Sharif. That comes in at 2.74 billion euros over here. Now, it has delivered, I would say, a strong second quarter. Cloud revenue is rising 24%. You have the current cloud backlog, which is one of its key metrics to measure things, is growing 26% as well at constant currencies. That's beating expectations as well, also reinforcing confidence that enterprise AI spending is healthy, not out of control. Results have also eased investor concerns as well that AI would disrupt traditional software providers after the sector-wide, like you say, SaaS scare. It's funny. Earlier this year. So you have, despite the top line momentum that we're seeing over here, management has, however, cut its full year 2026 non-IFRS operating profit outlook to the range of 11.8 billion euros to 12.2 billion euros. That is down from the range of 11.9 billion euros to 12.3 billion euros. And it absorbs a more than 100 million euro dilutive profit that's dragged down from its recent acquisitions of two things, Sharif, that was Dremio and Prior Labs.
Okay. Guys, another company here that's not being spared from the expenses of CapEx. Their margins compressed a little bit. It has spent a little bit more, 74.3% for one cloud division and about 70% for the other. So what's the look here, up 5 1/3?
Okay.
That's the daily chart on SAP. It's not going to get traded today on the show. But if you are happening to be like, oh, look at this name gapping 4.5% to the upside. I like the report. Just try to remember they're not. This is not the primary market. Like this does trade in Europe. So at 11:30, just be cautious of volume spike that is going to happen at the European close because that's just how it rolls, and it sometimes trades a little bit differently and a little bit tighter to the U.S. markets once that does happen. But you have just yet another name. Like you repeat a lot of stuff that got said about Oracle. Same looking chart. You make, I guess, a better gap up in perspective. So like there would be a potential breakout. But look at this. It looks like it wants to fill in the gap already and sell off. But as I said, it's primary trade in Europe, and I won't be touching this with a 10-foot pole. I just think you got better juice out of Intel, SMCI, SK Hynix, probably DRAM as well, lots of places, or just trade Oracle if that's your cup of tea.
Yeah, I don't really have a whole bunch to say on SAP there, but like you mentioned there, like it's just another cloud name that's been getting hit, and nice bounce today, up 5%.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of, again, like I think the Nasdaq is just being pretty stubborn right now, trying to figure out what it wants to do, and it's flatter here on the day. As see here goes Intel's trying to ramp up again right now off of those lows of 102. So I actually think that Intel breaking this level right here might be a good trade right off the jump, man, 104.50 or so for Intel. But yeah, look, I think Neil got it already. It's not its primary market over here. We don't really look at this name too much. I would love to see us back to 165. I think if you are a little bearish right now on the cloud space and enterprise AI adoption, which is what SAP is trying to get through, then you want to short, right? You want to get underneath this 50 period, which is we are, play the bump there, and until this sort of turns around, I think you can remain short here on SAP. Another name that's down 50% in a year, right? It was $310. Now it's down to 150. So SAP continues to get hit here, down 5%, or up 5%, but bad move there to the downside. I don't know if I love the space anymore, man. I think I like the hardware names, right, a lot better than the software names. So SAP right now to the downside, 165. I'd say is a sell spot if you somehow get up there. New tariffs, new everything. There's lots of names to talk about, and we have AXP coming with, again, like unfortunately the financials, which started off great last week, starting to go for a little bit of a slide, and we'll see what's happening here with AXP. We'll go get the story. We'll come back and talk about it. Although JP Morgan's at all-time highs, 350. Yeah. The banks are actually
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the credit cards there. We got Visa, MasterCard, and now AXP.
All right, guys, talk about American Express here. A very interesting report. They lowered their net loss or credit loss provisions, so their card members are doing okay, but they're also spending a little bit less. You're seeing a lot of banks reported increase in credit card delinquencies. You're not seeing that with American Express as their write-off rates held at 2%. How'd they do on the report, Sia?
So they did, I would say, not so bad. That's what I'm going to give it here. AXP diluted earnings per share at $4.53. That tops the analyst expectations of $4.40 by just 13 cents over here. Revenue of net interest expenses come in at $19.64 billion versus the consensus estimate that came in at $19.69 billion. Second quarter net income risen to $3.1 billion. That's compared with Sharif, $2.9 billion from a year earlier. Total revenue net of interest expense risen 10% year over year to $19.64 billion, which company has said was primarily driven by card member spending. Sharif, what were we talking about off camera? Card member spending, people spending more than what they have. Absolutely. And increased net interest income supported by growth also in card balances over here. One thing I do want to take a moment to mention is that consolidated expenses, however, have risen 12% year over year to $14.5 billion.
And look at what they're blaming it on. They're blaming it on customer engagement costs, higher card member benefit utilization. Don't use the benefits, Sia. It's costing us too much money, and it's eating into our margins. Neil, it's down 5%. What's your view?
I think it's the best value of the credit card names. I'll be the first to admit I'm not the biggest proponent of the credit card companies. I always say if I look at the XLF, I love everything about the XLF a little bit more than I actually love the credit card names, which are in there. I just feel like I like the banks better. They're performing better. We could talk all day long about BAC's having a pretty good run here. Citigroup's doing well, Morgan, Goldman, all that kind of stuff. But you're down 5 on this report. hey, if that extends a little bit further, what you are going to start, Rob, I know you're down underneath the 50 and the 200 is not going to be a good thing. But I start to look at, hey, go back to the April dump of last year and then link up the last two bids that the stock has had. And lo and behold, you actually emerge a long-term trend line for the last year. So on earnings, this goes down into 310. I think you like it, American Express here. And again, I think you're getting a dip on the best of them. So why not? It's just you're not seeing that level. You might not see that level today. I shouldn't say, you never say never. Down 5 points, $12 more. Like you could go down another 3 or 4 points and actually test that. But yeah, there's your trend support on AXP. It was a good looking port. There's some concerns in there, but you're getting a bit of a discount, a few percentage points lower on one of the best credit card companies there.
Yeah, I think you want to continue to buy credit card businesses, right? I mean, I think that they're pretty bulletproof if the economy is relatively strong, right? And so right now, thank you, Rob. Thank you very, very much for the coffee. Yeah, nice move to the downside right there for today. I think it's a buying opportunity. I know American Express is a very interesting name just for various reasons. It's a big business card, right? I mean, if business travel is going to start to pick up again, hopefully with oil prices coming back down means more traveling. So I like AXP here. But yeah, downside, it hasn't had a great 2 weeks really for American Express. But I just, when you look at some of the other names, right? We looked at JP Morgan, and I think if you want to talk about some of the financials, like this is just straight to the right, up and to the right, up and away here. I think BAC, I mean, you can get access to the economy and the financial situation just by owning some of these biggest banks. And, you don't even need to mess around with an American Express. Sometimes we look to bottom pick names, but why not just ride names that are actually working? And right now, BAC, Citigroup, all of the banks, they really showed up last week with great earnings and ones that were respected by the overall market, not like what we've been seeing this week so far. There's IBIT. I don't know what's going on with Bitcoin right now, but that's really getting hit here on a way down. I've written down Bitcoin once again as another short. Yesterday, Neil was in the short early. I didn't hit some of my levels, but I wrote down here, hopefully 36.75. Yeah, so right into here, 36.75. If we can get that, where VWAP is right now, that's downside. Oracle catching a little bit of a bid here as well, not doing much. Intel catching, that's Tesla. Intel trying to catch a small bid as well. So it's pretty mixed early. For a Friday, obviously it's not options expiration. Weeklies for sure, but it's not like a major like we had back in June there on the third Friday or anything like that. So now we just wait to see if there's any sort of an actionable trade here right off the open. But the market is looking like it wants to take down the pre-market lows right here. So it has not been a great open yet. Well, it's not open, but hasn't been a great run into the open. One name that we haven't even talked about on here, which will actually be traded on this show, is SpaceX. And I mean, this name here, what a move yesterday. I have written down, and we're going to wait to see if it winds up holding, but I've written down 116 to 115 as a possible long. I haven't put long on SpaceX in a long time, and it's just this level held. Like it was going to go down, and for some reason, it held this 315 to 316 area. So this is an area that we're going to look at. Obviously, I don't like to see what's happening right now, as we just came right into that level immediately. But SpaceX, okay, well.
Did it even have an imbalance?
I mean, now the market, it just took down the lows. We had worried about that. Looks like it's happening right in front of our face. There goes SpaceX down to 116 again. I don't know. It's going to be a volatile one here, but we can go talk about Upstart. I mean, Upstart and Affirm, fintech. Fintech's also not loved these days. Nope. But let's go back and find out the story here with Upstart.
First step to a national bank charter for Upstart getting the nod from the OCC. It will basically transform them from a decentralized finance sort of fintech startup into a national bank charter. They have many more steps to go, though, Sia.
They do. And key things that are three things to remember over here is that the charter would allow Upstart to reduce operational, regulatory, and finance complexity for itself as well as for third-party partners. So it is Yes, OCC has granted national approval for the company to establish Upstart NA, that is National Association, but there's a 3-part regulatory tool over here that you need to pay mind to, that Upstart cannot take deposits or open doors at all until it's pending applications for the FDIC, deposit insurance, and also Federal Reserve Bank holding company status are fully approved. So these are the 3 key regulatory stool that it stands on and that you can't ignore, because that is what is probed to this. Also, the conditional approval to keep an eye out and note for, it follows Upstart application that was submitted back in March 2026, Sharif. So it's happening since then. It's a key milestone as well to forward operating the first nationally chartered bank you have built from the ground up with AI-powered underwriting.
Yeah, and guys, the fact that they're pursuing a national charter here kind of foregoes the state-by-state licensing process that they'd have to do. Obviously, different regulatory environments for each one. Good luck trading today, guys.
Is brought to you by Origenics. Want to shout out to them. On Upstart, well, yeah, nice story for Upstart if we ring the opening bell, but somebody forgot to start that stock to the upside,
Oh my gosh.
unfortunately. So nasty. Intel's already at $100.
What the heck?
Intel's already at $100.
Oh my God. Yeah, the whole market's falling on its face.
The market is instantly to the downside. I know you said crypto. I actually like BMR for the short instead of IBIT today. I don't think distinction without a difference. I want to short some pops on this as well. You'd mentioned SpaceX already moving. USO starting out
Intel's
higher.
red.
It's already red. It's at $99. They are absolutely dumping this one. Remember, Intel went from 99 to 113 in a matter of minutes. We watched it live on the aftermarket show. They've now sold it all off because they gave us a vague number on their CapEx. That's why?
Yep. There it goes, man. I mean, this was up to 114 yesterday. It was up 14% at one point yesterday, from 100 up to 114. And there's the move down in. I wrote down $100 long. It's only first 1 minute right now in the market. But I'm not going to take a position yet in Intel, but it is a move lower. Breaking through yesterday's low right now is Intel of 99.28. Like, this was a name that we thought was a good one. And it may still be. Let's let it get washed out, and we'll see if we could take 100 again. We'll try that. All right, man, first position is in, and it's early, and it's SpaceX, baby. So we're going to go long on SpaceX and see if we can shoot the moon now. Here we go. We have this guy coming out here. There's a little ape with some diamonds. He has AMC written on that. I don't know if AMC is going to make a deal here with SpaceX or not, but we're going to go long this name off of 115. Hey, if we drop $1 on this, we're going to get out. So let's go 113.99 right there. If that drops through, we're out of this one. I like the long. We're going to give a check here on SpaceX long. It's the first time we've been long this name in a while. SpaceX right now down to 115 and trying to go a little lower, it seems like. But here comes Intel, man. Maybe that $100 is something after all. But it's trying to take it out to the upside now.
It is. There was that story of it was a downgrade, I believe, on Palantir, I want to say, and it initially went to the downside and then tried to break. Well, it just tried to break 125 again on Palantir and continuing lower and lower and lower. Man, Bitcoin is still, BMR is still falling. But look, SMCI is actually catching a bit of a bounce here. So it might get to 30 today. I want to check this 31 level, see if we can't get a little pop and fade at 31.20. Intel is pennies away from regaining that 100 level. It could break back up nicely.
All right, we've got new trades alert. We got Intel. We also have SpaceX. SpaceX right now, it just went clubbing. It was $1 in the money. I didn't have any offers out there. We do now at 116.27. We'll see if that can rip up there and print us for a little bit of a move there off of 115. Let's see if SpaceX wants to climb a little higher now. Remember where our stop is. Our stop was about $1 on this one. So we should have taken that dollar when it just came back up. But yeah, here we go, man. Intel. I'm long on Intel right now. Let's wait to see what winds up happening here. I like this level, and we came right into it. So I'm going to have to buy it, right, when it comes into this level. So here we go, man. We're long on Intel. Put in a little bit of shares there. Let's see. I only have half a unit right now. We'll see where it comes down to if it does break through this 99 area. I mean, I think our stop is pretty simple right now. So we'll just keep on doing that and see what happens here with INTC. Let's have a day 2 look here on Tesla if we can. So I wrote down 316, and that was yesterday's bottom level there for Tesla. We got to 317 and started pumping a little bit there. So Tesla on our mind from a day 2 play. And then, of course, let's go back over to Alphabet. Yesterday's play, we can see what's going on with them, and they are choppy. to say the least here off the open. Gets as high as 320, as low as 318. Oh, what up? Yo, the community just teared up. Shout out to everybody on TikTok there today, right? We want to say a big shout out to you. Thank you so much for supporting the show. We'll continue to be here every single day, and we're really glad that we just had that level up there on TikTok. We're trying to promote as many streams as we can right now to get people on and active with us. So yeah, Google's moving around. Looks like some of the names are starting to drop down again. Intel did make a move lower there.
It did just try. I got the weirdest print on that, like on the way back through at 100. Like I put a 100 break in and I got 99.87. I know this will sound counterintuitive, but that actually means there's a lot of selling in the stock. Because as it was breaking up over 100, someone slammed it back underneath. Like that's absolutely crazy here. But it is trying to get to 101. So the 100 level, obviously it's not getting to 107. But the 100 level is holding, at least for now. I don't know if we're going to be able to get a crypto short at this rate. BMNR, I don't want to chase this move. I think that's a little bit crazy to chase it all the way down here at the low of the day when the market's bouncing. So I'm going to stay away from that. For now, it's only going to be the 100 level on Intel. So VWAP sits at 102, 103. 103 was afternoon and morning resistance on this sucker. So that's where I think you could run into a little bit of a problem with Intel. But so far, so good. Software names apparently are going higher according to everybody. But when I looked at Palantir, so that was probably a mistake. Palantir is not software. It's ServiceNow that looks like it's making a bit of a move.
Man, I'm glad we doubled up over here on Intel. We talked about this play. We liked it. It was $100. It was one of the big names written on here. We're 2 for 2 right now here today. Intel kicking it, man. There it goes. Daily goal met right there. Hit the face slapper. We don't have any outs on SpaceX. I'm going to take one here if I can get it. But there goes Intel. Yes, sir. We had to wait for it. We wrote it down. It's on the note. We love that $100 level, man. And there it comes in again. That was good. But right into here, SpaceX, there's your Intel 100 long. There's your SpaceX long at 115. So it goes bump in the night, that's for sure. Intel, $100 right there. It's a banger. We hit props up to anybody that hits that one. But there it comes right back.
Bye. I just got
right back in.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I mean, I got some out there at 101. I'm actually longer again down here. Let's do a reload here on Intel. But yeah, what was your story there?
No, it was crazy. We were at 101.
Celebrating
it just got to VWAP. I had just put my stop in to break even from the low, and the next thing I know, it's trailing back out heavily.
This is not,
my SMCI. No,
I'm gonna wait
we didn't.
For it.
Oh my goodness.
You have to wait for Intel now.
Yeah, I suck. As I was putting that stop in on Intel, I missed the entry on SMCI. Look at that perfect topic tail wick at 31. And the market just started a left-hand turn and gave it up there. Okay, let's double check a couple of things under the hood because I don't want to not punching lows. Don't punch lows. Don't punch lows. DRAM low of the day. I guess that's not too much of a surprise here. Micron low of the day. Remember we were talking about 1,000 in the pre-market? That was a possibility. Not so much anymore. AMD breaking low of the day and about to go red. So the market giveth, the market taketh away. Even Tesla's headed lower here. If Tesla, look, forget about some of the other names we just said. If Tesla and Alphabet can't rally today, those were the big boys that drove us down. If they can't rally today, I think we got some trouble. Tesla's trying to hold on to green. So there's at least a chance for them, and at least a chance because Alphabet's got some strength in it. So the smart money is seemingly liking Alphabet a bit here. So good luck. I've just missed that short on SMCI. And Bitcoin and BMNR. Both of those are headed lower. There's SMCI lower. BMNR is getting absolutely waxed right now. So we'll have to wait to short some pops if we can.
Is there even a reason at this point to go long on Intel? Like, I'm trying to think that flush was just somebody that was just like, nah, I'm selling this name. And will the buyers eventually come back? I mean, Intel down 2% after being up 15% or 14% yesterday in the after hours just seems a little much to me right now. But we did call the market on the downside there. So, that kind of making a little bit of sense that Intel will follow a little bit of this market as well. We're going to try to get a little longer in the tooth here on it, but we bought it back. Just trying to pick up some of these longs. I mean, we had gotten out up there at 101.50. We only got out of a little bit, but we did get flushed back in, and all we got stopped out was on that break of 99 there. So we tried to buy a little bit in front of it. Once that didn't work, we got stopped out. We're going to go back into it right now. We did take a win at least we can celebrate a win on SpaceX. I mean, that's trying to hold out for 115 right now. What will this market wind up doing was the big question I had earlier on in the day. It doesn't look like it wants to do much right now except for go lower, as July turns out to be a pretty bad month here. Coming into earnings season, we're not getting too much love back for many names. And here goes SpaceX looking to break lower as well right here. So the market's kind of falling all over itself here in these names anyways, right? Yeah, that's what I was going to say. There's going to be other names to look at. You just said Google may be going a little bit higher there. Yeah, 320, okay. I mean, still not much going on there. That's too bad about Intel. I really thought that was going to go there.
And remember what we were saying about Oracle? Yeah, well, surprise everybody. Oracle's about to go red. What is dead may still die, but we got to go over to Sia at the desk. What do you have for us?
Over here, just providing some context over here for NVIDIA. So NVIDIA dropping a little bit, just coming to the upside. CEO Jensen Huang has joined Microsoft, Palantir, and also now in arguing that open weight AI models are critical to U.S. competitiveness. Jensen Huang, in his first ever post on X, has written that the relying solely, quote unquote, on closed models is not inherently safe, warning that concentrating advanced AI behind a few providers creates single points of failure. They're arguing that open models expand access, lower costs, strengthen competition, and also give organizations greater control over their data and infrastructure. So that's what's happening with NVIDIA right now. Comments coming in from NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang in his first ever post on X.
Thank you there, Sia. I just noticed, like, it's Apple and Alphabet. It looks like flight to some quality mags is the story here, at least so far. But I just saw something breaking trend, all morning long downtrend on SLV. As I was going through, hey, what's sympathy? Well, I'm not getting into crypto. Usually I like to look at gold and silver. So if this can actually hold on to 52.4, that could be a little bit of a break long. But this market's looking incredibly weak. Again, I'm not going to chase BM&R. It just feels like that's a crapshoot. We're headed too far lower. Intel, once it lost that 100 level, like, there's not much. All right, we got to zoom out. Got to put in some work. Like, you got $97. That's the close from Monday. Monday's close was at 97, and then underneath that, you've got the close at 95 back on Friday. So last Friday and last Monday, those are the two bounce spots that I'd be looking for over here on Intel. Just not really seeing anything that's. If you wanted to short pops, there were no pops to be faded, which leaves me trying to be patient.
Yeah, I mean, the short. I mean, there was.
Well, in the mags there are
VWAP there,
but I don't want to short them.
Yeah, no. Right now the long's just not hitting. I'm just going to try to give this a little bit more. We're out at 50 cents right now, down to 97. I'm thinking there's a rebound coming, but it does not. Here we go. We're going to get half of what we have here on a 97 break. It's inevitable at this point. It looks like that's about what's to happen here. So yeah, just absolutely crushed now on Intel. Down, not that I'm crushed, but Intel's crushed down here. Down 3% now for there it goes, for INTC as it just bleeds a little lower there. I don't know how long to wait for this name to finally figure out some recovery. There's really nothing here. We can go over to maybe a 15-minute chart and try to see, but right into there maybe. This is 96 just a couple days ago. So we've cleared out through yesterday's levels, and now we're trying to wait to see what winds up happening down here. That's 96. This could be the final out there. 96.50. Like, if you don't hold that, this goes back 4 days, back into earlier on in the week. So we finally get that report from Intel, and now it is hit down there to the downside for INTC.
Well, I got a small capper that's dying.
Yeah, okay. I mean, is it RADX?
No, it's OMH. So just for everyone that's looking, OMH was one of the runners this morning that actually had some good structure to it. It was good volume, looking like it was trying to make a run at the top to $1, and it faded 90. It's now halted down at 73. The TAP, theoretical auction price, sits at 67.5, it looks like it's going to try to open at. The other small capper that we have our eyes on with oil, look, oil's getting back into the highs. Sorry, USO is getting back into the highs, and oil as well. There we are breaking up. But SkyQ is underneath VWAP. So if we break the high, SkyQ is going to need to get back above VWAP and break this 67. If 138 goes on USO and SkyQ can take 67, then I think that becomes a viable trade, because, well, this market is still trying to punish everybody. We hit that 97 area. Yeah, now they're trying to bounce there on Intel. I'm just looking over at, like, DRAM. Ooh. Like
Nothing.
The
SpaceX
bleed.
is
Like it's
falling.
5.5% down here on DRAM. Where's SpaceX at?
It's at 114. It's just hanging out.
Maybe Google can hold up. Google's pulling back into VWAP. Google and Apple might be the jam for sure. But I already mentioned I want to see, and even SLV can't do it. This looked like it was going to be a reverse breakout of the trend. It's got to hold this 52.5.
And the market is having a huge problem.
Yeah, the market just continues to go lower. It's not that far down, though.
Well, I mean, down 0.49. I mean, we were down 2%
0.5%
yesterday. I mean, this market is just
not that
been
bad.
sick with it these days. Yeah, I mean, just straight down right now, 28.6 down to 28.4, and looking to go lower. So it's not good. We're going to get out if this breaks 114. We do have manufacturing PMI in 1 minute. Can that save the day? I do not know. But Intel's trying to go upside right now. So here we go. Okay, good. Maybe we're making some money back now. All right. Now Intel don't look so bad anymore in your boys' account, but we're still going on it. We're going to see what winds up happening here with Intel. Make a little bit back here. Let's take out another piece at 50. We just get that. We'll put another piece up here in the 80s, and then we'll see if we can hold out for a bid cometh on Intel right now. $1 back into the money now. We stuck with it. So far, so good. Looks like SpaceX trying to go as well. Let's take some relief rally on SpaceX if that's the case. The market's going up, but some of these stocks, some of the stocks are going up, but the market's not. Let's go to Sia right now for numbers.
Thank you so much for that. So just in a couple of moments, there we go. Not even in a couple of moments. As I was speaking right now, we have the S&P Global Composite PMI flash numbers come out at actual standing at 53.6, previous one at 51.9, forecasted numbers at 52.3. So it's just a bit higher from the forecasted number here. You have the S&P Global Manufacturing PMI flash coming in at 53.8, previous at 53.9. Not a big of a difference here, 0.1. That's all. And forecasted number was at 54.2, so well under that number over there. You have the S&P Global Services PMI flash at 53.6, previous one at 51.2, so the number is a bit higher this time, and forecasted number at 51.4, higher than what was forecasted as well. We'll have new home sales and new home sales month over month come at 10 a.m. when I will update you about that as well.
Yeah, Apple.
Thank you there, Sia.
Apple is big time.
They're really throwing some money into Apple. Remember, it's just that flight to safety that Apple, I guess, is providing in terms of quality. If you're mad at Intel for not telling you how much their CapEx spend is going to be increased, well, you know with Apple it's very moderate compared to all of the mega cap names. So this is the benefit that they have. Forget the 15-minute chart. That's just me trying to find some levels on stuff. This is what you're looking at. Unbelievable strength with them. I'm still looking over for this. SLV can't seem to hold the bid either. IBIT, LOD and continuing to fall. Like everything is at lows. I was just asked what my entry plan on SMCI was. What, the short? It's already at 30. So like here, like it's crazy because now the only thing would be to look for a reversion off the 30 level because it just made the gap fill. So it's gap down. Now I would want to look for it to hold this, break this top or hold this top, and then play into VWAP for 1.5 points because the short's dead. The short the last couple of days has been at 32 on the stock, and then it's been giving you some good juice there, but this is already at the LOD. So I'm not going to hit it. And as far as Intel goes, it still looks like this one is settling down. That was a huge bounce off 97. It's right back at the lows on the next candle.
Yeah, it's not.
Like,
I mean,
this
the
is
Nasdaq's
silly.
not doing anything but going down right
Unless
now.
you're Google or Apple, I'm trying to find something that is relatively strong that can be some kind of a bounce play. It doesn't look like memory chips right now. It doesn't look like gold or silver. Heck, I mean, I don't know. My mind keeps going back to that Sky Q, but then I just saw oil futures head to the downside. So like this happened. I was looking for Sky Q to break, but then USO doesn't break the high, and Sky Q's now defecating all over itself. So even like this small capper can't catch a bid.
You know, it's been definitely a rough ride here today for sure. It seems like, anyways. And Tesla might be one of the ones there. We just talked about what Apple was doing, but Tesla is trying to find a bottom. We wrote down 316. The lowest today is 316.80. I'm already stuck long right here on SpaceX and Intel. But this one at least is coming in. And if you want to look at a level that may hold, and we didn't see Intel hold anything, but right into there, that's that 316 area from yesterday. It looks like we're trying to get a little bounce action off of that right now. So, that's what Tesla's doing, just to give you guys a overall outlook on that. And, we keep on mentioning Apple, but I didn't show it myself yet. There it goes, 327. So they're back in here. They're saying CapEx, forget about it, man. We like companies that have no CapEx. at least towards the data center. And there goes Apple upside today. So that might be one of the plays. I thought AMD had caught a couple different upgrades and downgrades and whatnot today, but there goes AMD to the downside. They're now down 2% for advanced micro devices, and making again, like I just sold the other day at 545, and that's where it was this morning, and now it's down here. So names getting worse here in the space. AMD. We could check out a name that I really like though, is NVIDIA. We talked about that name.
Right,
and they're not really doing anything here today either. Only flat on the day, hovering around halfway through into VWAP, now trying to get going. I'm just massaging these two plays here. If we can get a bump up, which would be really great in SpaceX, fine. Trying to battle back. We're long right here right now, looking for bids, man. We just took off a little bit in the middle here because it hasn't gone. If we can get something back up to 15.15, I think that's where we are. Oh, I have a little bit out at 115. Just because that's where the 25 period moving average is. And then if we can get going a little bit, then giddy up. All right, here we go, man. Finally starting to get going on Intel. So let's celebrate that a little bit as that's finally starting to get back up there to the upside. We did some dip buys, man. We got some great dip buys involved down there on Intel at 97. So, but it's only a great buy if you can sell it for higher. So right now we're trying to do that. And it just stopped again at 98.50. So, a couple good outs up here. We did get hit on the way down. I'm not here to tell you I'm green on Intel because I'm not, but we are green on SpaceX as we let that go through now. But there goes Intel. Hopefully it can recover a little bit. And there goes SpaceX as well. Take down 115. We like that call. Up on SpaceX, down on Intel so far there today. We just got another fill somewhere where, what was it? It was Intel. So yeah, breaking through 99 is the next little look there that I'm looking for. But yeah, so far not so good this morning if you're long. But let's see, man. Maybe there's a rebound coming somewhere in this market.
Yeah, hopefully so. Because the 30 has held at least on SMCI, but this is just like the Intel move. I was just about to get VWAP. We took that reversal candle and we get some out at the quarter, and then it's right back into the low. So I just tightened my stop back into the 30 level on SMCI, 30 even. I might go for the reload here. We're a little bit later in the session, so I'm going to go for the reload if I can, if it's even going to give it to me, and then still try to get this one to go into VWAP. I was asked what that small capper, it was the OMX, that halted down, halted back up, and now the tap is 91 cents, so it might break that $2 or that $1 after all. But I just reloaded SMCI. We'll try to play this again from quarters to that volume weighted average price. But as soon as we head up, you're just reversing so quickly. You just wonder if the buyers are even here today. There's that BMNR that we're not short, and I guess we should have just continued to look for the short there. I'm glad we didn't take that SLV at the lows. Not. This was the one I was going for, and now it's above VWAP. That's at least trending up. So I'll get out, and we'll slap the fail on the first long for myself, even though I'm not on that page. I will do this. And I just typed, the best part about it, I just typed fail in my level 2.
Oh, yeah, nice.
I do that all the time, actually. If I'm saying a word, and I'll just type it in the level 2. No, we were breaking higher. I could have gotten more out on the way up, but I was sitting right there in front of 50s. But you're breaking lows. I don't want to be fighting this. Nothing is sustaining moves whatsoever. Even when you catch a bounce, it is so muted. And then look how quickly the reversals are coming in. So it's got to be more aggressive scalping on any kind of a long play. And if you can find a short entry, try to hold on to it. That's the way to go.
Yeah, the market is now just, I 100% agree with all of that. I think you want to look for some shorts at this point. We'll get out of SpaceX, basically a flat trade there. Not too much damage done on this name. We did rebuy right there at 114 to sort of, that's basically the loss, was buying a little bit there and then getting out at 114 break. But that's what caused, now the market is, we're just momentarily going to be stopped out, there it goes, of Intel as that breaks lower there. We tried the long, at least we were able to make a little bit back there, but then the last, straw there is downside. And wow, this market, man, we were up. We started the day up. The market was up, I don't know, what was it, 0.5% or something there when we started, and then boom. And remember, I gave that poll out there, what do you think about the Nasdaq? And I was sitting here thinking to myself, I don't know where the Nasdaq's going, and neither does anybody else. We had the more votes were to the green side there today, and wow, is it ever not green? As we have one up candle basically since we started this show, and that was just a couple minutes ago. And then it was followed by a complete crank lower right there. So yeah, the market started this little V-shaped recovery there, right to VWAP, and then ever since that, man, downside pressures on the Nasdaq here today. Not a great way to start your weekend here on a Friday if you are long only. I still can't believe that Intel's down to 96 bucks. Like I thought that was a good report, man. I've been raising cash to buy some of these things, and I think Intel today.
Yeah, but it was a good report.
I know that.
The price action doesn't change the report. They just didn't. So what if they had given a number on the CapEx? This would be better. If they had just said, okay, CapEx is going up by 10% next year, would that have been better? Because when you leave it open-ended, now everyone's imaginations go to all the wrong places. And obviously, this is not looking very good.
Tesla didn't hold. That's 314.
Well, you know what? On days like today, if you're looking for a long that isn't Apple, we said this on bearish days, sometimes you got to look for the small cappers. There's your OMH. Regains VWAP, breaks out, now above $1, 63 million shares worth of volume. It's looking pretty good. I don't know what the market, I'd have to double check what the market cap is on this, but let's just say this is an obvious level, $1, 200 period moving average. So you want to see it hold on to the dollar after this halt. If this is your cup of tea, that SkyQ is a bit of a disappointment, and that's because of oil. But there is at least a bounce happening on USO. Oops, I went to SK Hynix there instead of SkyQ. Can you tell we look at big caps more than small caps? So this is what's going on with oil trying to bounce. This is what happens on SkyQ when USO doesn't break the high of the day. Bye-bye. So that one is absolutely dead as well. So yeah, if you're looking for bounces long, you better be really, really patient about it. At this point, I want to find something that is holding up relative strength for if this market can bounce. Because at this point, there's no point chasing any of these lows. Probably should have just been like yesterday. Should have just had something like Bitcoin or BMNR short, and then you'd be absolutely laughing. You just need crypto short. It's not always the sexiest, but my goodness, it's just been printing every single day. And this is a day not to even look at it.
You want to look at different names today, I think. Not names that are all tied up in this tech. Sort of. And if you look over here at what's been happening so far here today, S&P is still down 1%. So, everything is getting hit. But look, there's some strength here in healthcare with Eli Lilly and J&J as well there today. Negative side of things in ASML here, AMAT, Lam, GE Vernova, all these names getting hit. There's John Deere with the upside there. So at least maybe something for you farmers out there. You can have a look at that. NVIDIA, Broadcom, Micron down 5, AMD down 3, Intel down 4. Wow, this is not great here for some of these tech names. SNDK there, it is down 8%. GE at least up 2% there. Corning down another 4. STX, wow, down 4 as well over there. Qualcomm down 2. Marvell down 5. It's not the day that we all thought that Intel would bring us here today, is it, man? We thought Intel might have helped spark some of this market, but there it is right now, trying to bounce off of 96. I've tried to catch the bottoms here on Intel just without too much success. Let me try one more time, because why not? What do they call that? Something, keep on doing the same mistake over and over, it's your fault. I don't know what it is, sort of the whole insanity. That might be a good one, Fabian. I don't know if I'm too insane here, but I still think there's a battle back for Intel today, and that's probably insane. Yeah, that is probably right there. But 90, 95, 76, I think we can hold a little bit against that level now. But will this market ever slow down? It does not seem like it. There it is, hitting hitting down 1% now, down to 28,000 is the Nasdaq. So we'll play it small here. We'll see where this bottom may be created. We're looking for a volume spike, maybe a capitulated bottom here at some point. If you're gonna put new money to work, Intel down 4%. A stock like DRAM right now as well, that's been getting hit all morning, down 7% in the memory space. It's not getting any better. It's getting, indeed, maybe a bit worse, which, what always makes us happy? Let's go find out who's in chat. All right, because right now I want to say a big shout out. We leveled up on TikTok today, so we want to say thank you so much to everybody that's there from TikTok. We do have the screen. We can actually show the screen in the back where all the chats are gone. This is a consolidated feed that we have. There it is right there. Let's say, hey, we'll say hi to Sia first of all. Hi, Sia, how you doing?
What's up, Sia?
There's Andrew Chow is there. Bovin's here. Mix Master JT. Yo, mix me up some winners over here.
Bovin, what are you trading, man?
Get that concoction.
Those small cappers must
Bovin, yeah, Bovin, his boy there, Sharif and Bovin. Those guys loving each other. We love that. Yo, what's up, Big Mike there on TikTok? But yeah, Bovin, you might be right there. Thank you, everybody there. Glass half full. Thank you for joining us every single day, regardless of what day it is or what the market's doing. There we go.
Well, the glass is half empty right now. for the market.
Yeah, the glass is definitely not full. That's for sure. It's might even be less than half actually at this point. Big Mike is there. Good trade on Google. He's talking about. So maybe we can go over and have a quick look at Google.
I saw the shablamo. Who was that? Was that you, Joe?
Probably. What's up,
I
Joe?
didn't catch it. Someone dropped the shablamo in there. Brought to you by Joey Options.
Shabling blang
a new
over
word.
there.
Oh, apparently not a new word.
Shebang.
I saw it on
Oh, it's because he's a Drake guy. That's why Shebang.
Yes.
All right.
Shebang,
So
Shablamo.
we're gonna try again Intel and then just try to look for something else at some point here. But everything has been falling down. What about energy? You know, I mean, XOM potentially. Energy not doing a whole heck of a lot there today. It did start off 138 down to 137. So one of the first days in a while that we're seeing USO and the oil trade potentially moving lower right now. But yeah, Micron, people like Micron in the chat there. You know, Walmart, maybe some good dividend plays trading through today.
Micron just hit 930 in the low of the day.
Low of the day. So
I mean,
the Nasdaq is trying to bounce and not having much luck there. Maybe the better trade is just trading the Nasdaq itself because a lot of these chip names do not seem to be bouncing. And then we did say someone there, I think it was Big Mike. Shout out to, oh yeah, let's go, man. Now we are now above our purchase price yesterday in Google. So far so good. Buying dips in that name on a day two play seems to be working out. We have numbers in 5 seconds. See ya, what's up?
housing starts.
Absolutely right. We do have numbers in 5 seconds. Let's quickly take a look at what the markets are at right now. The SPY currently down very relatively less, but still tilting towards the downside. The triple Q is down 0.86%. The Dow is up 0.10%. That's actually shocking. We have the IWM, that's the Russell 2000, down as well. Let's take a look if the numbers are out. They are indeed out. We're going to take a look at them right now. New home sales at 628,000, previous at 580,000. That is a pretty big jump. Forecasted was at 0.6 million, so I would say that is technically almost around the same. New home sales month over month, 1.6%, previous at negative 7.3%. So I would say forecast also 3.4%. It did miss the forecast by quite a little bit, but I would say not a bad look here compared to the previous number.
There we go. There we go. Finally. This time I'm taking VWAP. I'm not gonna look a gift horse in the mouth. This time SMCI getting out at volume weighted average price. Should have done that the last time. But the first bounce that we get in the market is on a number that I didn't think would actually matter that much to the market. But just one thing to keep in mind. Here's the Nasdaq. Yesterday's lows, right in, sorry, this is the Qs. Don't at me. 688-ish is yesterday's lows. So that can be a nice little resistance spot potentially. So you're getting a decent bounce in here, but I just don't want to ignore that the overall trend has been down. So take the bounce that you can get and not be upset. The name I want to go back over to suddenly, and it's holding trend up. So I don't know why I'm not dip buying this. SLV is actually just gently putting in higher lows this entire time the market's been going down. So this is easy to play in a couple of ways. VWAP is here on the trend line, so I'm just going to buy the dip on VWAP, and I'm willing to reverse this if it does break underneath the volume weighted average price. So as the market dips, find something that I can buy a dip in that's at least trying to uptrend.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great call there, getting some out on VWAP, or getting it all out. I think playing the pump when you get it, I think is smart. And then you mentioned earlier, try to find areas where maybe you can just get out of your positions and then maybe even reinvent a short off of some of these VWAP plays, right? And so unfortunately, my guy over here, Intel, does not get to VWAP, not even close. So I'm using the 25 period right there to get out. So very similar to what we just talked about there with Neil. I'm trying to get out of this level if we can on Intel. We got some really good dip buys into there, but look at that, man, just falls right back in again. So just as we're trying to hope for a move higher there, a couple good outs definitely indicated up there. Let's see if it can get just a little bit through that 97. So yeah, man, very, very difficult day to say the least here, but I don't think in the financials we're suffering like that at all. I mean, this has been a good day here for JP Morgan and whatnot, makes that new low of the day at 47 and pumps the rate up to 50.50 again. So JP Morgan doing okay on this end there, but yeah, pretty much an inside day, says Kilgore there, Kilgore Trout. Kilgore trout inside day. So I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. But right now, hopefully the market can battle back a little bit and we can get back to VWAP and then start creating that sort of even keel.
Is it an inside day?
Winners, losers versus. We talked about that yesterday with the call put ratios and whatnot. So we'll see what winds up happening here. But there goes Intel right back into the lows again.
Well, speaking of traders making calls, if you want to make calls with active activity like we see in the markets, there's an offer your broker isn't giving you, which can help with that. This environment's going to give you those big shots and those big moves, but you need a little bit more discipline for it. But you also need access to capital. That's where Trade the Pool comes in. Instead of being limited by the size of your account, traders can access firm capital and focus on executing their strategy and managing risk. No more fear of blowing up your personal account. No more moving your stop loss too early because you're worried about your own savings. This is called limited risk trading. So if you want to take advantage of the volatility in today's markets without risking your own capital, visit tradethepool.com. Scan the QR code out in front of you right now. And we want to thank them for sponsoring the next hour of the show, which for the market's sake, hopefully goes a little bit better than the first, which has been pretty much all red right now. And Tony Zeta just said, what just happened with Intel? Didn't it go up 10% on earnings?
Yeah, it went up 14%.
It was even, I mean, at the highs, it was at 113.80 or whatever the heck it was, right? So $100. It was up just shy of 14%. Then they had the call, and they gave that vague CapEx statement. And now here's where we are. It's shoot first and ask questions later, or sell first and ask questions later. That's what the market's been telling us. The good news for what was the good news for today, I was about to show you Alphabet at its high, but it's not. That's a pretty nasty hammer candle. Thank you, Neil, for jinxing Alphabet there. But at least Apple's still at the high.
Nice one, Neil.
So a little bit of strength. I swear, like Google was just at the high with Apple, but by the time I go to talk about it, it's already pulled back. That's how nasty this market's been. So I'm just trying to pick up SLV because it's on a trend to the upside where it's pretty clean on those dip buys. Try to join something a little bit more gentle here.
Over 8,500 of you watching. Want to say a big shout out to everybody that's watching right now, both on TikTok, on Twitch, on YouTube, everywhere where you're watching. Want to thank you. But no matter where you are, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and bookmark. Or can you bookmark on TikTok? I have no idea. But make sure you do follow the channel and get going on that too. We talked about NVVE again. There's going to be how about this? There's no other space right now on YouTube where anyone's going to be talking about NVVE. Okay, so this was a name that was well traded yesterday. It was a monster move. And then now today back into the pink sheet. So those of you that were asking about it in the pre-market, yeah, it's a nothing burger over here right now. We talked about that 325 area. Nothing going on with NVVE today. So no volume. I wanted to look it up just because it was one of those names that we had talked about as a potential actionable trade today, but nothing going on. And you can actually, just as a resource, you could just search right here, and this is how I found it. I went over to OTC Markets. You click on trades right here, and it sorts it by volume of trades. And I saw NVVE right into here. These are really light volumes, man, like 800 trades right now after 40 minutes of the market being open. Not much. That's Tencent, of course, TCEHY. And there's Nintendo. So if you want to get some Nintendo in your life, you can do that on the pink sheets over there on the OTC market. So, but yeah, that's what's going on there. I've only been in two names. Intel, I'm still in, and trying to lick the wounds of that one. SpaceX, we haven't done much on. It was pretty much a flat trade. We were able to get out there, and then lost it there. So right now, I still like SpaceX. I like the long here. I felt like we've only been hitting short. I mean, most of the money made was off the IPO, of course. But since that day, we've been really hitting shorts on SpaceX. And today, that would have been the right play. For some reason, I got caught up thinking that this level right here, 115, would have been something to hold. And it was not. It came in pretty quickly into it, bounced around a little bit, giving me some kind of hope here that this long was right. And then it came back in, just broke through. We took another bid. Then we tried 114. It broke 114. Now those lows actually line up right there. Like I can't, like that was yesterday's sort of top that we couldn't break through until we did. And when we did, that created a nice little takeoff spot there too. So what about a dip buy opportunity in SpaceX against that level? good possibility there for SPCX 113.50. If you get along there, I don't think you'll hate yourself for taking that trade. All right, I'm not going to hate myself for taking out some profits here on Intel because, you know, it's been a profitless day for this name for me. But look at this, 4 straight buys and 4 straight moves higher right there for this. This is why I put on the scalping hat when this kind of move happens. We'll get out of a little bit and see if we can hold like 75% back to the upside. So far, so good on a little bit of a rebound here for Oracle, for Intel. Just hearing in my ear something about Oracle. I don't know if you got that. Let's go Intel. Hey, man, maybe we can go green on this name after all. We just let this run right up. Look, this looks like we're planting red roses over here, right? Like there's the seed, there's the nice little, you know, tulip or whatever, the flower, I guess. I just said roses, not tulips. Moving upside right into there.
Flowers.
We just got, yeah, it's valid. Yeah. That out we just got was 97.15, so all good on that front right now. As the tulips are trying to come out for Intel right now, we're up in the money $1, but we need more than that to make this back.
Yeah, I didn't hear that story. Yeah, I just realized I had to restart my new service. So unfortunately, I would give it to you if I had heard it, but I didn't. We might have gotten out a little too soon on SMCI, but if it wants to continue to trend higher, first things first, hold VWAP and prove that you can. Once you can look for an entry on that, on the trend. I hate to be a broken record, but I wanted to get to this before too long. Remember we were talking about that OMH? It just keeps on halting higher. It's now 220% upside. TAP now saying 146. It's halted at 139. It basically will not stop at all. There is nothing. It's like unabated to the quarterback. It's like a sieve at this point.
So,
there is no
it can't stop, won't stop.
I was gonna make a joke about the Cowboys' offensive line, but then Sharif's not even here.
Yeah, but there's too many holes in that line.
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
Right. This is a Swiss cheese market over here. I mean, maybe the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, we have to wait for Sharif.
I can't bag on the Cowboys.
Let's wait. Here. Yeah, we don't want to hate on, because we could have some Dallas Cowboy fans in the chat. We don't want to. We only really want to offend Sharif. You know.
I mean.
So when he comes back,
that's kind of if you're just tuning in now, like the dude's a Cowboys fan living here. Like he's lived in England, and he lives here in Canada, and he's a Cowboys fan.
Dallas is one of the most followed teams. It's them, the Packers, the 49ers.
That excuse doesn't work for me.
Okay.
I'm not. No.
Well, that's because you're a Bills fan, and they took multiple Super Bowls from your grasp.
We're close to Buffalo. Toronto fans are naturally Buffalo fans. That makes sense. Or Detroit.
Okay, here we go.
Like Detroit.
Joe, would you like to mic up at all over there? Sia, do you watch NFL by any chance?
No, I don't watch NFL, but that does not make sense at all.
We got to get Sia's mic on.
I'm on the look again. I'm going to shut up. Yeah.
What do you mean? You don't have to shut up. I'm asking
look at the way
Neil's. That's mine, by the way, Neil.
I'm just saying.
Mine. Right there.
Well,
we have a Maple Leafs.
If that's the case, the Raptors should be the Knicks, right?
The Raptors should beat the Knicks. They will beat the Knicks.
No, technically.
No, but the Raptors.
Sharing a board.
But there is a Toronto team for basketball. That's what I'm saying. Like, we don't have an NFL team. We're never getting an NFL team.
We don't. You're right.
Oh, I'm going to the Argos game, by the way. The home opener, August the 6th. Going to the Argos game. I'm bringing both my boys. We're going to go check that out. Man. And we are pumped up because I think the Argos should have. I have no idea what the Argos are doing, but it's their first home game. They're playing like 6 on the road because they played at BMO Field there, where the World Cup was. And there it is, man. It's going upside right now with Intel. Let's go. Now we're $1.70 in the money. So this day is starting to get a little bit more exciting for your boy here, as we, had a great night last night. We went out, got this great Italian food there. That was really nice. And I came back and lost everything that I spent on that dinner on Intel. And then so now we need to regroup and see if we can make some money back on this name. And there it goes, up $1.50 right there for INTC. I'm more proud for now of that Google dip buy into 320, and it's holding 320. So let's wait to see what happens here with Google. Nice high of 323 there today, up that 1%. Come on, Intel. I mean, what are the chances that Intel gets back to a hunch today? There it is. Now it's, hey, I don't know if I'm going into the club. I don't know if my guy Sebastian over there is going clubbing at any point, but we are now in the dollar club right now. That is $2 worth now on Intel, back to the upside, and we have about 40% left of this position. So I think I'm going to sit back, relax, and sip some cognac, but I don't have the ladder right now. Oh, and by the way,
no cognac.
We shared a bottle of Chianti last night. Okay.
You finish it?
That's a very good wine. What did you pair it with?
Well, I mean, I had the veal pork chop.
He had
That's all?
Bone
the veal and
veal.
Marissa had the gnocchi.
Veal pork, veal parm there, and then the wife had that gnocchi, and the gnocchi was really good. It was a little spicy, but yeah, of course we finished the bottle. Like we paid, like we're at the restaurant. I'm never leaving any wine in the bottle. I mean, you know how much you pay for this wine? I don't know what bottle it was, but it was.
You could bring your own,
it was
man.
really good,
Better value.
and I felt like all of a sudden I need to either drink more or drink less because like I have this headache, and I was like, how am I having a headache after half a bottle of red?
You're not hydrating.
Do you usually drink wine that often?
No, I mean that's a problem.
And Chianti is a stronger alcohol percentage too. So.
Oh, look at you. Okay, that's right. You have experience working at a bar, right, Sia?
I'm trying to get my sommeliers.
Oh, sommelier. Okay.
Let's go.
Here we go. I need some recommendations.
Now you're leveling up here, Sia.
All right, Sia. My budget for a wine bottle is about $20. So let me know if there's anything.
That's all. I didn't know that. You tell me, but that's.
No, I'm just making fun of myself because. Yeah, okay. Gas station wine. Yeah, thanks, Sia. Yeah, that's where I belong. Okay. All right, let's go back over to the market right here.
Yeah,
a lot of fun talk there as we have some good fun on a Friday. It's 10:15 right now. No more economic numbers coming through there today, but we do have a nice battle back here in the Nasdaq. So at least that's happening. Remember, we were down about 1%. Now you're only down 0.6% here again. I'm just excited that I can talk to Sia about wine now. That should be exciting.
That's great to know.
All right. And without any further ado, I've been talking way too long as per usual. And we do have Sia back there at the desk with, again, a small cap recap.
Thank you so much. I'm seeing the IWM climb a little bit right now, but it just turned positive on the day. As I said, it's climbing right now. Let's take a look at two individual tickers, THRM. Okay, that is not what I was looking for. THRM, that is not what I was looking for. I'm sorry. We're seeing something on my screen that should not be seen. THRM, Guntram, that's up 4% on the day, reported a second quarter 2026 results with revenue of $416.2 million, diluted EPS of 14 cents, driven by higher automotive volumes. Also, product content gains here compared with the year ago quarter. Not a bad look here. Stock is reacting not crazily, still up 4% on the day. RELL, now this is a ticker that I was diving a bit deeper into, and I didn't understand what's going on with this ticker because Richardson Electronics did report Q2 2026 results that beat Wall Street expectations. Sales are up 10% year over year. That's at $762.2 million. Its non-GAAP profit is at 63 cents per share, also 40% above analyst consensus estimates. Stock is still a big burden. It's down 15%. I have no reason for you. It's just probably a pullback from later in the day yesterday. I don't see any reason for this at all. But if there is, I would have let you know. Nothing for now. Anyway, we have REL down 15% and THRM up 4% on the day.
Okay.
Thanks, Sia. I just want to give another update for, wow. I don't know how anyone's really getting into this, but it's now 290%. The TAP is now 170. OMH is at $1.65. If it gets to 100, then I don't know. It's not getting to $100, but $1.65. This was just breaking $1 when we brought it to you, and now it's going to open. There it is. It just opened up. Looks like, and it's going right into a down haul. This is not going to stay open for any significant amount of time. It's essentially insta-halting. So the next time it stops insta-halting would be your chance to do any kind of work on it. So 155, it's about to halt into the downside. I just heard that we're going right back to our resident sommelier, Sia.
Two updates here. You have KUVE, this ticker a little bit to the upside, has received an FDA approval for first non-prescription fixed dose combination of acetaminophen and naproxen sodium for 12-hour pain relief. A little bit to the upside. We're also going to take a look at USO here. So comments coming in from the Israel PM office saying U.S. President Donald Trump will be meeting Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House on Tuesday. This is coming from Axios.
All right, thank you, Dara. As we push lower right now in the markets, like I honestly, I don't I don't even know what to do. Like well, I do know what to do, and we did clear out as we were celebrating and talking about wine and everything out of this trade. I mean, we got lighter and lighter on this to the point where we had 40%. We're down to about 25% right now. Good outs on the 50-period moving average. I mean, it's just downside pressure now in the market, and there it goes. Remember, we were just down 0.6. Now we're back down to that 1% again, and I still want to buy dips, but it's getting to some pressure points here where what about if there's going to be a lot of traders that played off of this like I did. It came back in there. You had that move higher, retesting the low. I think there's a lot of people going to be caught long right here. Not just because that's where I'm caught long, but just looking at the charts, like that is a spot where you would have tried the long against this low. So if we do wind up breaking said low, then I would think there's going to be traders that could push the panic button and push this thing even down significantly further, right? And so, Google's not holding out. I thought Google was, and when we went back to it, it wasn't. So, that's, okay, well, 321's better than I would have thought with this market at the lows, but that's not doing great on a day two play. At least it's holding up, I should say. But it's Tesla, right? That took out yesterday's low at 316 and really hasn't had a bump opportunity there. It did get into the 25 period, but nowhere near VWAP. Oh, shoot. There's the move right there. So we just took that low out. So watch out now. Here comes a little bit of a break to the downside now in the market. As we had said there, get some profits where their profits lie, but there ain't a heck of a lot of them today as there it comes. Look at Intel right there, right back into these lows one more time. We were just celebrating getting out at 98, man, and now it's back to 96. So potential, it looks like potential little bump up there off of 95.50 for Intel, but yeah, it's not looking any better right here. We'll take some more just because this is where we've been, but we still have our outs there at 95.50. So if that breaks, then it will break my back as well down through that level. So a little more offering out here at 96.50. And then, hey, man, it's clear sail to the downside, it looks like, here in the market. And I just wish that it would have been a little bit more of a positive day, not just because we're long, but I think the market needs it.
The market absolutely needed it after these earnings. And hopefully next week is a better reaction to said earnings. Well, I was looking over for what can break down if the market breaks down. So I went to some things that were good the last couple of days. One of them was Lucid has been dying the last 2 days. And I see it with lower highs into a potential flat bottom break with room to run. So I'm going to short it at 50 here, 49.5. And just give it to this wick. Market takes the lows. I might be able to add underneath 45 and then play into yesterday's bottom. So just sort of join a downtrend with an obvious stop area and then be able to sit in something. Because SLV, for all of that upward trend in SLV, they get bounced off VWAP, scalps a little bit to the first resistance, but it doesn't get to the high of day and is threatening to break underneath, and I might jump out of that one as well. Kind of glad about that SMCI that we haven't gotten back into that. Instead of just getting out of the longs at VWAP, shorting VWAP obviously would have been a much better idea.
They're giving us so much shorts, and I'm just here trying to pick the longs.
I'm getting out of the long. You get out of the longs, it might be a good place to go short, but I'm not always thinking reversal in that regard. So obviously we're headed lower. Just look, we'll talk about the rest of the market too. Apple, by the way, has only been going up. It's not really giving you great entries for that long trade. Alphabet is barely holding on to VWAP after showing its signs of strength. Just to go down the line here, we haven't really talked too much about Amazon. Remember, they got beat down because of what happened with Google and the CapEx. They are just resting on the absolute lows. And I know we've shown a lot of Intel because obviously they just had their earnings. But remember, Google and Tesla, those were the big earnings losers yesterday. And Tesla's not even getting a bounce. You would have thought Tesla would have been primed after being down 14% in SSR for some kind of a relief rally. There's a logic to that. It's just not happening for Tesla. Down another 2%, unfortunately. This time, all right, I'm going to try to scalp out of this. If we hold VWAP, this actually might be good for a scalp and reload on SLV. Oh, and one last one before we go back to Sean.
No, you don't have to.
Bitcoin here is still making fresh lows. I'm telling you, if every single day you come in and find, look at the last 4 days in Bitcoin or in IBIT, doesn't really matter. Short it, all day works. Pull back into prior day close, works. All day short. And then look at it at first resistance.
We're actually fine all
just drops off an absolute cliff. That's a short every single day until the day that it doesn't work for you.
I am like considering the way this day started, like I just want to say thank you, Intel, time and time again for actually holding, because like if it doesn't hold down here a couple times, like we are cooked up. Like, but you know, it did hold, and we're taking advantage of it all the way back up to the upside. So, you know, a couple dollar winners here off of Intel. We're still going to be red on it, but like if it goes, we'll be fine. But I just keep on holding half, so it's still not like if it comes back in and breaks the low again, then you know we'll have made money back. Don't get me wrong, but it still won't be a good day. We're waiting to see if the Nasdaq, which looks like finally, and there's that move. Remember what we said, what I said anyways, was that if we took that, we could be in for a break. Well, it did break, but it held again. So maybe now 2 times a charm down here at the lows for the Nasdaq. So we're going to hit the dollar again as we go back up to the upside on NVIDIA, on Intel. That's been multiple times now where we've had multiple dollars back in, but just never held. So, you know, we're getting out here at the 50 period. I don't want to get it all out just in case there is a battle back for this name. Again, down 3%. I think there should be buyers coming in. The CPU game is still strong, and the market should be rewarding Intel, I think, for that quarter. But whatever I think is not right. AMD as well, downside there. I sold some AMD the other day, and honestly, it was to buy more Google and buy more Intel. So we may be getting that opportunity right now to do that. But there goes Intel finally. My next offer is at 97.50. We haven't gotten that high. We got it one time right. Actually, we got 97.80 right there. We're going to try to get a piece out at 50. Then we'll wait for 98, and then hopefully we can get somewhere to view up at 98.50. So hey, that's it for me on this side. We do have Sia back at the desk.
Market climbing a little bit over here. So we have Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi saying that discussions with Pakistan as a mediator regarding their initiatives and proposals, problem is not the lack of a mediator between the United States and us, but rather the diplomatic approach of the Americans. He's also saying that Iran has shown that it will not submit to American bullying and will not respond to threats, pressure, or intimidation. Market climbing a little bit over here. I'm just going to take a look at the levels that USO is on right now. Yeah, just a little bit of a climb, trading around the $136 range.
First of all, I was trying to get Sia's attention to read the super chat, because I think you should have read this one, Sia. This one's kind of for you. Darth Locutor. Ooh, okay, and you got a Star Wars fan. Now you're my good books. I appreciate the TTV.live team. I'm inserting the live. Y'all have great diversity and entertaining personalities across the board. Also, Sia's growth and self-confidence in the last few months has been amazing. Keep it up. Shout out to you, Sia, stepping in as well all day the last couple of days for Adara, and doing a very seamless job, I would think, Darth Locutor. And there is a second super chat. I want to thank you for that. We have Omen, the Canadian super chat there. How are the SPYs lower lows and Nasdaq lower lows? I don't know. Let's just blame it on.
You can blame it on the rain if you're a Milli Vanilli.
You can blame it on the rain. We can blame it on people reading the Intel reports. We could blame it on Tesla's CapEx and blame it on Google's CapEx. I don't know. The market's trending lower. It was a really rough day. But there's always a but. The Qs have double bottomed. Like, I mean, it looks like a good double bottom to me. Look at that bottoming tail candle. Can it actually make some higher lows here? We'll look at the SPY as well. I think it's a little bit better. You're now getting some higher lows on the SPY. So a little bit of relative strength in the SPY to the Qs, which obviously makes a little bit of sense with tech getting wrecked a little bit here. But, you know, the market has been trending poorly, unfortunately. Thankfully, all right, SLV just got to the high. I didn't get the reload off of VWAP. By the time I put that bid in there, we just spiked into the pre-market high. But this is holding upward trend. So far, so good on silver. I imagine GLD and gold are probably doing well as well. I'm going to buy the dip on the volume-weighted average price one more time. And Chain Reactor with a super chat. Thank you for all the super chats. I've been telling everybody for the past week, Bitcoin has lit the dumps, lit the dumpster fire. Oh, look out below. Look out below, boys. You're fixing to get caught holding the bag. Lit the dumpster fire. Yeah, see, it's one thing to be It's one thing to be in the dumpster. Once you light that sucker, it's, not only does it stink, but it's hard to put out.
Yeah, I agree. We talked about that 66,000 being a big problem there for Bitcoin. It seems like that is the case. All right, man, props it up for holding on to Intel right now. Well, now we're just going to let it go. I do have a 98. I mean, if we can get VWAP, that would be fantastic. And we could almost look to close the trade at 98.70, but we just had a 97.50. So thought that was a good fill. We sat there and took it. We got to just relax a little bit and see where this market wants to go from here. We could get some more polls up. I mean, will the market get back to green? I don't know if that's going to be a decent poll or not, but led by Apple today, right? Apple up 2%. If you looked at this board right now, don't look over here. But if you looked over here, you'd probably be okay. You'd only say, the only problem maybe is Tesla. These producer manufacturers have been hot for a while, so I wouldn't really worry about a Lamb down 2% or something like that. But what you would want to look at here, oops, we don't want that one, we want this one. So we can see the price right now of Lamb, 311. You want to look at some of the strong areas, right? And today, energy has been pretty strong with XO, despite USO being down. XOM, CVX, a lot of these names getting a little bit of a bump up. So that's nice to see there in the energy space, right? And then we talked about it. Walmart, we had that Joe low there of 108. That hit yesterday. That's bouncing a little bit today, so that's nice to see there. Costco, also a decent day there now today, up to 932, bouncing off that 840 or so was the low there. The name that I'm in, of course, Target, that's up 1%, so we really like that around the 140. That's been a top for that. So, some of the retail names getting back, to the upside there. Finance bros have been really killing it these days as well, as most of these. Robinhood, of course, down 8% to 7%, today. I should say, of course, but this is what I mean. Everyone's so smart when Robinhood's going up to 120. I really like that play of buying some dips on Robinhood. It's shown that it has that move, but then just to Neil's point and what we were talking about with that super chat there, that Bitcoin has been getting hit, right? And so unfortunately, and I don't even really know that Robinhood should be trading with Bitcoin. I mean, we've seen that they've had lower crypto trading quarter over quarter, and it's still part of it. I guess that's still part of the game there for Robinhood. There may be another story. I know Sia's busy, but it feels like that's not all that's there because financials are up right now. Bitcoin's only down 1%. I don't know if Robinhood deserves to be down that much. We did have the president talking yesterday, I think it was yesterday or the day before, about those kids accounts there.
Yep.
Maybe Robinhood caught some shrapnel there somehow. I don't know, but this seems like a pretty, and maybe it's just a 100 break. That could be it as well. Breaking through 100, breaking now down through the 200 period moving average. But I know Neil and I think Joe's been long for a while, but I know you guys are looking at this $70 level, like a drop back.
I'm in at 80.
80.
I didn't get 70.
Regardless of the price, that's still a good price. These levels is what we're looking at right there. So yeah, picking the very bottom of 65 would have been amazing.
I think I have 79 something.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So it's basically $80.
Bringing that back in should be a buy, I would think, for Robinhood. Fintech has been in a problem.
Okay.
I'm loaded into SoFi.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and I don't know if you had the daily chart up there. I'm by default trimming some here. You're simultaneously losing. Here's the thing. It's 50 period to the 200 and then extended. And now it's losing both of those today. So, I'm going to be trimming by default. Once you lose them, if I'm in and I like the major moving averages, then to me, when you lose the major moving averages, I'm not taking it all out and I'll probably buy the dip somewhere as well. I'll have to figure out if that's going to be 75 or wherever it's going to be. But today, I will suspect I'm getting some out.
Casserole.
It's fine. Just didn't get as much as we would have liked out of it. But I'll probably take at least a quarter out. Was that a super chat and then we're going to see it?
No, I'm going to put this up right here.
Okay.
The CEO of Hood's Twitter was hacked? Maybe. So I don't know. We'll find out some more stories.
That's not a good look.
I'm only putting it up because I saw it there in the chat. We haven't vetted that comment or anything, but that may be something there. And then, some secrets of Robinhood were released. Isn't CEO, is that Vlad Tenev you're talking about here? But I don't know what's going on there with Robinhood.
So basically, as of yesterday, his account was hacked to promote a fake meme coin called Vladcoin. That's what was happening. They were trying to get it on the markets, literally.
Vladcoin? Come on.
Vladcoin.
What is going on, Vladcoin?
That's what's happened. But Robinhood is also expected to report earnings on 29th. Of July. That's probably also.
So we're on next Tuesday.
That's not a good look.
All right, so yeah, not a great look to get hacked out there, but I don't really know. These coins, is anybody really going to invest in any of these coins these days? Like, I think there has to be.
Are there really people that are buying that en masse because of that?
I don't know, man. Vlad coin.
Are there?
All right, well, we'll check it out. I think we've been waiting to go to SIA for a very long time. Is that correct, Andre? All right, well, then it's something called Sector Watch. Back with SIA.
The SPY is currently a bit towards the upside, 0.16% on the day. Let's take a look very briefly because Sean did cover whatever I wanted to say. So electric tech, you have NVIDIA, a bit of a flatness over here. Apple up 2.2% on the day. All the chip names, AMD, MU, INTC, you'd expect them to do better, but not really. Everyone is down on the day today. 6%, 3%, 2.5%. GE, RTX, Dell not doing the worst here with GE leading the pack of 3, up by 3% on the day. Moving on to tech services, you have Google that's trading a little bit towards the upside, over 0.5% here. Meta, Microsoft flat, Palantir, PNW flat, Oracle, surprise, downside to 2.6%. Netflix trading flat as well, but tilting towards the green, and IBM up to over 2.5%, with Salesforce up 2.8% as well. Finance, Sean is taking care of it, but I'm just going to go over AXP and why it's lagging down so much. So yes, it had a profit beat, but it also had a revenue miss. Excluding interest has come in at 19.64 billion, which is slightly below the expected 19.69 billion. That's probably one of the reasons that the name is lagging behind, down over 6%. Robinhood sliding further into its losses, down 7% on the day. You have retail trade. Amazon is currently trading flat. I would just say tilting a bit towards the red. It's down 0.76%. Now, two names, Walmart and Costco are a bit towards the upside, whereas Home Depot, TJX flat on the day. Producer manufacturing, LRCX and AMAT are lagging over 3% each. CAT is down 0.66% to be precise, versus GEV is sliding further to 1.5%, being down on the day. Health tech, we're seeing relative strength here. Lilly and J&J soaring above 8%. Lilly's up over 1.5%, although there's news that Novo Nordisk has said that it's seeking preliminary U.S. court injunction to immediately block obesity and diabetes drug advertisements from Lilly. So I would think you'd have a little bit of a pullback, but no, Lilly is still up on the day. I'm just going to check quickly ABT over here. That's up over almost 2.5%. You have energy minerals. It was flattish right off the open. It seems like it has gained a little bit over here with XOM up close to 1%, and CVX that's up again close to 1%. Consumer durables, you have Tesla down 2.5%. Not that great of a look over here, but then again, Tesla has not been having a great day yesterday and today either. Consumer non-durables, KO up on the day. PM is up to almost 2.5%. PG is flat. Utilities, I would say there is a bit of a bullish strength in this sector, but one name lagging, two names almost lagging down, VST, NEE, also followed by D down 0.57%. Transportation, the entire sector looking a pretty bit flat here. One name that I'm seeing that's being lagged down is 7% down on the day, CHRW. Process industries is not looking bad, except the Dow, not the Dow Jones, the DOW down 4.5% over here. You have communications that is looking pretty strong, but Echo does not seem to be having a good day in the past couple of weeks here. It's lagging down 3%, but you have TMAS up over 4%, VZ up over 3%, and T up over 3%. Not a bad day for this sector here. Finally, let's just end it with health services flat as well. Non-energy minerals, SCX down on the day 3%, but other names are looking pretty all right, not too bad. Finally, we have distribution. MCK up 1%, SYY up close to 2%, sending it right back to you.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's nothing. We didn't look at SK Hynix. I know she says SYY, but SK Hynix was a name, and we looked at Micron. You mentioned that 930 level right there. Intel just came right back into 96, but I didn't take it. I'll take it next time, but you know, I was a little nervous about that dumping down in there. So now we'll just hold it and see where it goes from here. Okay, here we go. Cheese in a chair.
There we go. There's our
What's he talking about here? Levered ETFs?
I know holding levered ETFs for days and weeks is considered bad mojo. Well, it's not that it's bad mojo. It's just that the whole idea is that decay is going to eventually get you. Like, it's just bad. Yeah, the math doesn't work. But you've been upping your position in SSPC since SpaceX had a 2 in front of it, and it's been better being better than the ZSL silver crash. Well, I can't.
What is it?
I can't really argue with you. Look, obviously SpaceX hasn't really been having the best of times. It's been the worst of times, and all of them have been pretty bad. But like long term, the decay is still going to get you. Like everyone understands. Like the shorter term trading vehicles, okay for short swings, obviously for day trading. These leverage ETFs, which are literally everywhere. There's like multiple for any stock that's out there, and they're great trading vehicles. Just be careful how long you hold them. I did want to point this out because this was brought to our attention. The first ever X post from Jensen Huang. If you don't know who that is, that's the CEO of NVIDIA. You guys all do know that, of course. For my first post, I'm sharing, well, everyone knows that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You don't.
I'm sharing a letter NVIDIA signed on why open models matter. AI will transform every industry, power every company, and be built by every country. Open models strengthen safety and cybersecurity, accelerate innovation and diffusion, and enable sovereignty. The world needs both frontier closed models and frontier open models. There is an in-depth, I'm not going to read there's like a letter that goes with it. We're not going to read that on air. But of course, you know, he's probably the most important. I mean, I guess he's the most, I would say he's the most important person in the space or individual. So his words matter. They're not helping any of those plays today. That was right about the open, and it didn't really help anything go upside. See ya.
Yeah, just keep an eye out. I want to call out these three tickers over here. That's DLR, SLB, and EQIX. DLR is soaring almost, I would say, over 14% on the day. Shares trading sharply higher after earnings, which has reinforced strong demand across the data center market. Now, we do know that's a hot topic. Data centers, they've raised its 2026 guidance after reporting a record $1.9 billion lease backlog and 25.4% higher cash renewal sales. SLB data center, I'm just going to move on to SLB over here. That's also up almost 9% on the day. Data center solutions has revenue risen 80% year over year, $286 million, and continues to remain on track to exceed $1 billion annualized revenue by the end of the year. Equinix Incorporated, trading around $1,099 here, up 6.3% on the day, running on positive read through from Digital Reality's earnings, but EQIX reports next week.
See, hey, where's my guy? Thanks to Dara. Yeah, that SPX short SPC. What was it? SSPC. I have it up as well. SSPC. Where's my guy Lindenmeyer? There in the chat. Not to call you out or anything, my friend, but yesterday you had mentioned that potentially SpaceX bottom. We may never see these levels again. Well, it's less than 2 hours after that comment in the open market that once again SpaceX is at these levels. And I mean, I thought you made a good call, like that maybe that was the flush there. There was a little bit of volume down by the bottom there, but you know, to the points that we keep trying to make here on the show, and that is like one day, you know, you're in all glory with your positions. The very next day, anything can happen. That does tend to happen with small cap names, of course, where, you know, your name is there one day, delisted the next, or drops an offering, or you're long something, and the next day, you know, you're in the money 1,000%, you know. We've covered many of those names, but I feel like SpaceX is getting to be a meme stock anyways at the end of the day, and it's kind of like people love it and hate it at the same time. You know, when the machines get turned on, there's no problem for SpaceX, you know, going one way. But the problem is that one way seems to be down. And, you know, we do have up opportunities. I'm really glad that we were able to get out of here, you know, basically with a flat day. We are going to be red on it, but pretty flat on that. And there's the move down. Like, I guess that 115, I wish I had put the same hat on. I mean, if I go back over and look at the sticky note, the last 2 weeks, every single day we had a short written on there. Today was the first day we went long, and they fooled me for sure. Like, I thought we were gonna hold in this level. Bounce, you know, rip up, turn the machines on, right? Fade back out, stop, machines on, comes back in, right? And then this is not really machine trading, but then it turns back on again here, comes back in, holds higher, this time at 116, comes back in, holds 116 again, and ends the day at highs. I thought for sure there would have been some support down there. The fact that there was no support at all, not great for SpaceX. So now the question is, like, will there be support at the all-time lows right now? And that's what we're ticking off right now, 111.50 right there. Look, an easy way to make your whole day back is to buy this and hope that it does hold basically the 110, right? I mean, I don't know if that's the wise thing to do, but that's 110.85 right there, giving you some data points. Now, if you did that on Tesla yesterday, that would have been a problem because that low was 316. And now look what Tesla's doing. Oh my gosh, down 3.5% now, Tesla, and getting lower right now. Yeah, not much to celebrate here in the space today, especially if you're talking about earnings. That is for sure.
That's where a lot of things are headed. And SpaceX right now firmly belongs in the gates of hell for all the stocks.
You can't chase
That's why that SSPC was doing so well for people. Shout out to you, Adam James abroad. If you're still abroad, let us know where you're at. What are you doing? Morning, gents. Happy Friday. Happy Friday for the shorts.
Yo, what's up? What's up?
No happy Fridays for the longs. Unless you're long Apple, or what's that? Apple, OMH. There's probably a couple of other ones out there. Definitely not ADV. What's that other one? ADVB.
Yep.
I just saw that.
Halted.
That one just lost the bid after a down halt. So even some of the small caps are starting to come back in. That's on the Nasdaq. Yeah, look at this thing. Ugh, gapped up and dead. Absolutely dying. Don't be long crypto. This is like the weird fail. It's like every single day, there's like two things that have been certain the last like week and a half is SpaceX short.
Death and taxes? No.
No, SpaceX short, as I was saying, and then looking for some kind of a crypto short every single day.
Yep.
And it's like the one day you get away from looking for that trend, you're toast. But you know what? That's not the only thing in the gates of hell. Tesla wants 300. I think, look, I'm just pulling up the chart and showing you the last key price level as 280 because just go back. This is a March low from last year at 220. That's the only level I've bought in. I love that 220. It was 222 and 22 cents. But that top of the consolidation was around 280, and then it supported 280. So it looks like we're in a rush to get to the $280 level here on Tesla. That looks like the next support, but they are dropping this sucker like it's hot, and there's really nothing standing in its way. It's basically sell everything else and rotate into Apple today. I don't know what else. Like Google. Remember Google was strong?
I just have a new position on Google. I'm trying to buy this right now.
It's at the low. Apple's at the absolute high of the day. I'm like, is this going to actually revert at some point for a trend break? The only trade I'm waiting for, I'm sitting in that Lucid trade, but I'm looking for silver back at VWAP to just reload this. This is also upward trending along with Apple, kind of bucking the market.
I just, I'm taking, so I did go back into Intel, which is working now, finally. I mean, how many times Intel just off this low? I mean, $96, just bang, 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 like give me 50 cents, yes, please, and thank you. Back and forth on this one, really helping the day out, that is for sure. Intel, thank you so much for that trade. But yeah, no, at the end of it all, we'll step into Google right now. I'll take a new position on Google. And again, just into those lows. This is not a SpaceX situation. I think this is where we're buying a company that we can wrap our head around. We've already seen earnings. That's 117. So if we can break back down below there, I mean, Google was just in the money 2 seconds ago. But this is going to be a little bit of a chaser, that's for sure, as we'll wait to see if it does wind up holding some of these lows. I just want, in case the market rallies back, we've already, as Neil said, we had seen Google already give us this move. Now, obviously, as the market drips down, it's looking like a short, but I don't think there's anything wrong with giving it a go there. And another good out, like we have multiple outs there on the upside of that move. So looks like we're starting to get lower here in the market. We didn't even look at USO to any real extent today.
It's at the lows.
Yeah, now it's at the lows too. So, NASDAQ at the lows, USO at the lows. Looks like we're selling off everything. Bitcoin at the lows. I didn't even have a chance to look at gold yet to see what we're doing over here, but 372 for GLD, pretty flat on the day. And I know you're always, not always, but you're trying to look at silver sometimes. Let's have a look to see what silver's doing right now.
Better than most.
Yeah, up at least. So maybe there's some strength there in SLV. But yeah, here we go, man. 95.50 break, we're out of Intel. So we're just going to put the white flag up there, and if it breaks lower, then we're gone on another disastrous day here for earnings names.
No, there's literally nothing holding up. Like, what are we even, like, the only thing that looks worthy of a buy, like I said, for myself, might be silver off of the volume weighted average price. And I even look over at Apple, like, is it eventually going to lose that trend line? And absolutely not. I am sitting in Lucid. If it makes the flat bottom break, I'll let you guys know. But this is basically, it's like a simple fail resistance setup, put in lower highs, hold under VWAP, but it already tagged the support low until it breaks down. I'm just looking for it to join the rest of the party. I have my I have a couple of bids out, so I'll get swept up if it falls, and I like that low of the day from yesterday. The structure is still good, and I want to reload what we got out, but it's just a matter of looking for something that hasn't gone yet for a short, or be very, very patient with that long. I did want to make a note. You just mentioned earnings names. Remember American Express? And we were talking about this 300 level. Well, you are now more than halfway there from yesterday's prices. Now 6% down for XP. It wasn't an all bad report, but even these guys are dropping. Like, there's not much that's holding up very well in today's market. Like, you're trying to find those kernels of strength, and they're just not there. And you think about maybe it'll be the software names because they've been out of favor. The IGV's up today. So there's at least that. Like, it's 0.5%. It's not much, but it's better than nothing, right? I mean, there's not much out there that's going to look good. ServiceNow's up 3% or almost 4%. They lost everything on their earnings after being gapped up. Obviously, we know Oracle. See, this is the problem with Oracle. Remember what we were talking about with that story? It's like, anytime, unless you're a small cap company that doesn't have any revenues and you have a big short float, you can't announce a contract that is not a material size in terms of dollar value relative to your revenues, relative to your debt load. Like, it was such a small contract that you put it on the watch list, but the reaction, we were very clear, wouldn't be that good. I didn't think it would break the lows. I just didn't think it was a long. Like, the stock is so bad. The company.
Oracle,
the company's probably going to be fine in the long run. It's just a matter of finding a bottom, because it hasn't.
No bottom there, and no bottom for Intel either. It just took down the lows. We'll have to slap a flush on that one because we kept on reloading it. All good, but at the end of the day, no. Again, and it just never got to VWAP. So maybe the long is not there, if it's there at all, until we finally do break that level. You could get excited on a break of 97, but it's downside here and not looking very pretty for any Intel shareholders today. That is for sure. I thought it would have been a different story there for Intel, but it's not. A name that's been holding out, you just mentioned a little bit there about what's been going on. I mean, here, now Intel's back to 96 again, so I don't know. But Palantir holding on pretty good. That little bottom tick there into 122.75, that could definitely be a level there for Intel. But, for Palantir. I'm still looking at Intel because there's the bounce back off of pretty much that low, but it does break. It gets into 40s there. Now it's starting to go back upside. Maybe we can get some love back into the chip space again. AMD trying to bounce there a little bit as well. Maybe it's time to just look over at NVIDIA, as that's been good and trying to break higher now. NVDA, that could be the trade that winds up working on a breakout of 208.50, maybe a 209 break on NVIDIA could be one of those trades. That's 208.40 right there. That high 209 in the pre-market, I don't know. At least we're above and we're trying to go now. In what's been a bad-looking day, it looks like NVIDIA does have a chance to get going here and even turn green for NVIDIA. The Nasdaq now down 1%.
VM3 Learning just put in the chat, you need Mr. T to comment. Simple as this. I pity the fool that bought Oracle stock. That's what he would say.
That is what he would say.
Because he's a man of few words and a man who only speaks the truth and nothing but the truth. Also probably big.
There it is.
Yeah, the van's where it's at.
The van's where it's at.
I had that the dinky car.
Damn you, Intel.
Dude, I have so much crap that my parents threw out. Like, that might be worth something these days. Like, if you
it has to be in like mint.
Oh, it wouldn't have been because we mashed the crap out of ours. Like, we raced them in the walls and stuff.
I was thinking the same thing, but people kept them in boxes. That's
so
where
cool,
the money is.
I had a lot of cool ish, man. I had the original.
There's the money is. Show me the money.
Optimus Prime too. I don't know.
We had so many. The He-Man.
Crap went to like a cousin somewhere. I have a cousin somewhere that has all my cool toys.
Laughing now.
It is what it is. So the new trade is going to be in SLV. Doesn't get to VWAP. It breaks the trend here. So VWAP is a line on a chart, but it's still upward trending.
Google's cooking at least.
Yeah. So that's the thing. The market is doing a good job bouncing back. So this bounces off the trend line. So again, going to play it to the high and then see how far it can go. Alphabet going. That's a good sign for the market. Alphabet and Tesla have the best possibility to hold the market higher. Because if they were the ones that were primarily dumpers for the market because of the earnings, then I think they're the two that can really get the market potentially. I mean, I was about to say potentially to the green, but you know what? The ES is green. Like the Nasdaq's down 1%. The ES is green, everybody. So when we put that poll up there, we did say the SPY and not the Nasdaq.
Yeah.
So
The ES is green.
The ES is green already.
Okay, good. Yeah, we talked about that.
It doesn't feel like it.
Some of the healthcare names starting to go upside as well. Damn you, Intel. We dropped out of Intel $1 ago, but you got to get out when going gets tough. And there goes Intel back up to the upside. But yeah, we'll celebrate a little bit. It's been something now for Google at least. We were able to buy that at 3.8. Tried to get more. I was literally at 317.50. I was at 55. It went as low as 65 down there. We'll take 2 outs on the upside now for Google. That's going in a small new position right now against 123. May not come into play there, but it's going to be Palantir. We'll buy a little bit more now at the 20 level here and see what winds up happening with Palantir. But yeah, downside. I wanted to look at this against this low there, but the market now is turning around. So boo Palantir, that might not give us anything. But 122.73, again, another name that's flat on the day with a chance to go back upside. So we've got Google right now, hearing some news about some EU patents or whatever. Let's go back over, see what's going on with that one. But we're already in. It's Google.
Google a bit towards the upside here. Google has signed the Europe EU AI Act Code of Practice on Transparency. Google a little bit to the upside over here after signing the Europe's AI Act Code of Practice on Transparency.
122.73.
Thank you there for the story. I mean,
yeah, there goes Google. I mean, it's $1 now. I don't know if that's going to do anything. I mean, it's more the market that's rallying. Obviously, we got into this before any kind of story there. Screw you, Intel, honestly. And then right now, SpaceX back down to 111, down to 112, trying to bounce off of that level. And here goes Palantir. Here goes Palantir, hopefully to the upside. And we'll see about a break into 124 now for PLTR if this market wants to rally. We would have almost made everything back here on this Intel trade, but we got stopped out. Wait to see what winds up happening right there on that break. But yeah, Google on that news, that's good. We just had, did they just have $1 billion fine or something from the EU as well? But Google right now trying to do better for shareholders and get back to the upside. Now positive is Google, and the story of the day was Apple, I feel like, as that name just is still ripping. Apple, what a chart for Apple today, getting right back into and close enough to all-time highs in and around that 340 area. Probably Monday sounds like a good idea for Apple to get to all-time highs. It's money talks with Sia and a little bit of crypto talk as well, with only 5 minutes to go before the midday.
We're going to, yes, merge these segments that I'm doing right now and take a look at money markets and crypto here. So first of all, let's take a look at the pound. The pound looks like it's set to snap a 3-week winning streak. There's softer inflation reading, also deteriorating Middle East conflict, like I said yesterday, has prompted investors to reassess their positioning ahead of the central bank meeting in the UK next week. A little bit on a climb here, trading around 1.3. It's up 0.11% on the day. Let's also take a look at USD TWD, that is a Taiwan new dollar. Taiwan Central Bank, as of today, has emphasized its good relations with the U.S. Treasury Department in response to the Treasury's latest semi-annual currency report, which included Taiwan on its quote-unquote monitoring list, along with 9 other countries. Now, what we're going to do is we're also going to take a look at the dollar. The dollar currently down 0.04% on the day, trading around the 101 mark. I just want to see what is the level that the dollar opened at, and if there has been any kind of difference here. No, it opened at 101.4. It's at 101.3. Not a crazy difference over there. We're also going to take a look at, you're right, BTC and what's going on with the crypto markets here. I also want to take a look at Ethereum over here. And you know, I always do also include Solana, even though it is a little ticker, not that crazy. So Bitcoin down 1.7% on the day. ETH down 1% on the day. You have Solana down 2.5% on the day. BTC, however, now trading around the $63,893 mark. So cryptocurrency exchange HTX has been sanctioned by the European Union as of late yesterday as part of its latest effort to tighten pressure on Russia's financial system. So HTX is formerly known as Hoboi, that was founded in China, is one of the world's largest crypto platforms. Hong Kong-based billionaire Justin Sun has also bought a controlling stake in that in the year 2022. So that is a little bit of a crypto story. Nothing crazy going on here. Sending it right back to you.
Thank you there, Sia. And hey, don't look now, but Bitcoin is actually going to put in its first green candle on the 15-minute of the day of any, well, I guess technically there was one at 9:30, but whatever. It then just absolutely tanked. So maybe it's going to rally a little bit here. I would feel that's still relatively weak in my opinion, but we'll find out. I know, shout out to Bovin in the chat. That's one of Sharice's friends here mentioning this VIVK. This was a good runner earlier in the week. I believe it was Tuesday or Wednesday, as you could see there. But it's having problems with VWAP and $3 right here. So it needs to break this. Like there's somebody selling it from 3 to 315. Once you get through that bad boy, it's over and it's got a bit of a chance. But here comes the market higher. Is hopefully, yeah, we bought the trend line, break this high of the day. The ES is already green. The Nasdaq wants green. I was gonna double check. Oh, where'd the poll thing go? Oh, never mind. Oh, there it is. That's right. I can view the history. So 65% thought the SPY would go green today, and right now they're right.
Yeah, even the Nasdaq battling back a little bit. I'm just about this Intel because it did make that move off those lows. We kept on giving it a little bit more room, but at the end of the day, it winds up breaking. That low was 60. We gave it a break of 50. So that's where we got stopped out. But we are making the money back right now because here it goes, man. It's a big one. It's Google going higher. Let's try to hold on to this, man. We still got 70% of this trade, and it's Google that's really starting to make some money now. There's 319.50. Okay, so the day is now getting a lot nicer for anybody that's been long and trying to hold out for that. There goes Google. Let's go. Let's see how high we can fly with this name. And then Palantir, I took some out at 65 there, and we're going to wait to see if we can get the 200 period, which is at 85. So that'll be my next little take there. I'm actually at 75, just ahead of that. We'll see if we can get that. And then through 124, and we let the market do the rest of the work for us. 40 cents in the money on Palantir, $1.50 in the money on Google, and damn it, a $2 out ago on Intel. Not very good, but we got to throw it to Sia. So we're going to say bye for us right now. So thank you to everybody for watching again today. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Everybody on TikTok, man, it's been a blast.
Thanks for all the super chats.
There goes Palantir. We wind up getting, thanks for all the super chats. And Google at 320. Hopefully the market does wind up rebounding there. Good luck to everybody in your positions as we go. Thanks, Andre, for everything today. It's been a great one. Let's go back. And thanks, Sia, man. Good coverage, Sia. Today for filling in for Adara. Adara's back on Monday. Neil and I back at 2 p.m. But until then, we'll see you. Ciao. Back to Sia, then the Midday Show.
Thank you so much, Sean and Neil. Great. Thank you. Let's take a look at Meta now. Meta is climbing a little bit. It's trading around the $607 mark. It is up on the day very significantly less, but it is still. So Meta has won the dismissal of lawsuit over WhatsApp privacy claims. This is what's causing the upside. It's still on the up and up. Once again, Meta Platforms has won the dismissal of lawsuit over WhatsApp privacy concerns. Now, the show that you've been waiting for, Midday.
Yeah, I mean, obviously. Oh, hello.
Start it over again, man. What is that?
No,